welcome to episode 120 of Zapped to the Past. I am Adrian Mills and I'm joined as always by Mr. Graham Raddings. If you haven't listened before, this is a podcast where we discuss games that were released for the Commodore 64. We are using the magazine Zapped 64 as a monthly guide for the games to focus on, but we are in no way affiliated with Zapped 64 itself. This week we start our look at April 1989 and the first batch of games reviewed in issue 48 of Zapped 64, along with what was also going on in the UK singles chart that month. Graham, let us know whether this is going to be an awesome or awful start to April.
In this episode, where we examine exactly how many animals from the jungles of Central Africa it takes to create a fruit-flavoured drink in a carton, we go all isometric and rolly as we deftly manoeuvre the planes, black holes, and pinball bats on a quest for puzzle supremacy in ISS, Incredible Shrinking Sphere. Head slug speed, vector first into deep 3D style space on a 3D-like quest for 3D-related goals in the no 3D glasses included, Wanderer 3D. And grab our 8-bit balls for not one or two or even three football games. Well, three and a bit. In the bloody awful 4 soccer simulator. But there's only 3 in there. Our initial flavoured drink investigation has revealed that a hippopotamus juggling fruit can somehow enable a rhinoceros to create marketing and branding. Weird. While we dig a bit deeper into that, we also jump into the cab of a dancing lorry and journey through some kind of endless roadwork simulation in the oddball Supertrux. Brush up on our Elvish and get, oh, shuck up. Bit of Lord of the Rings humour there. Or rather, explore the endless battles and maps, mostly maps, of the One Ring in War on Middle-earth, before finally popping down to our local race loop on our trusty motorbike and heading off for a repeated leggy zoom around an oval in the cheap and cheerful International Speedway. April, you are supposed to be the chosen one, better than March, but you're just like some kind of Sith apprentice, and I sense something terrible is coming. Has it ever been a good start to April?
Well, it rains, spring's on the way, lambs are lambing, stuff galloping around.
Yeah, April Fools, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, has it ever been a...
Do people do April Fools anymore? No, it's
I think they
beware
do.
the Ides of March, but they don't often say, and also look out for the crap in April.
Well,
Probably should.
Beware the AIDS of April. No, that's a bad thing. No,
that's terrible.
I was in, actually, I meant to say me, as in mine aid, so just to avoid me. That came out wrong.
Okay.
Or the lemonades, the orangeades.
Yes, yes.
Just
the
avoid
AIDS as an ADE, yes.
Yeah, avoid the sugary drinks of April.
Yes.
Especially if they're delivered by the Pop Man. Did you used to have the Pop Man?
The bar pop, yes, of course we did.
Good old Pop Man.
Of course we did, yeah. Where else was I going to get my dandelion and burdock from, damn it?
Nowhere else. There was nowhere else. There was a dandelion and burdock that would leave a stain on a cup that was never going anywhere.
No, exactly. God knows what was in that. I suppose dandelions and burdock, but there you go.
To what extent?
Well, we don't know, but you could clean off the grubbiness of a 2p coin with that stuff, let me tell you. And then you could drink it down and have some time for watching Doctor Who. Always good.
Well, it's true, because just after that, the sweet man would come round as well, with his suitcase full of sweets.
Yes, this explains my lack of teeth now, as it goes. But there you go. Why are they falling out? I can't think why that might be. Let me say, steady diet of sugar.
Goody man was there with his bag
of teeth are hurting.
Suitcase.
No, they're not.
Eat more.
They won't do soon because you won't have any.
Eat more. Be just like everyone else here, like your paw and your maw.
Do you remember the dentist saying to me once, do you drink a lot of fizzy drinks? It's like, no, I don't think so. And he went, you do, because your teeth are rotten like apple cores. Like, oh, shit, thanks, mate. Aren't you supposed to fix it?
That's where you made the fatal mistake of going to the dentist.
It's not a mistake, although it was once a mistake for the dentist.
I never got asked by the dentist, because I never went. And I drank far too much Coke. If it had come to me, it'd been like, my God, cancel my week.
There's a lot to be said for dentists, and
I know.
If you're a dentist, there's no disrespect to you, but I hate everything you stand for. No disrespect to you as a person, though.
No. On that respect, you're a stand-up person. Anyway, we've got a cover to look at.
Oh, of course we do. Yeah, it's the first, isn't it?
It's the first week. It's the first week of a new month. So
it's the first for Commodore reviews, but it says on it.
They couldn't fit the first in, could they?
No, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
They could have moved it across slightly to the right, made it slightly smaller. You could have fit it all on one line.
Yeah,
or just not had it. Just not had it. Did anyone
would have been
care?
better, I think. No. I do like the dynamism of the cover. It's back to the kind of, perspective dynamism that we've come to like about these covers. The eye leads in, doesn't it, to that? It's good.
It does, yeah. And there's a nice big orange in the background.
Yes. Yeah. Again, that's the second time there's been a giant orange in the background on this covers, I think.
Is it?
Because I'm pretty sure we've commented. I know obviously it's a star, but it is, a planet, but it is a giant orange regardless.
It's
and I think we've said
orange.
before, we were like, I think it's the second time there's been an giant orange. We'd have to go back and look, and that takes effort and time, and that's more effort and time than I've got. So
absolutely, this podcast takes me enough time and effort. Well, I mean, it always said it's a giant orange. There's a spaceship shooting an asteroid with a big gnarly alien face thing in the background.
There is, yeah. It's Blasteroids, isn't it, the cover?
It is for Blasteroid, yes.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good, actually. I like the design of that spaceship. It's a little bit like a Klingon bird of prey, just a little bit, but it's not so similar enough that they're going to get done for copyright infringement by Paramount.
Gene Roddenberry's going to be on the phone.
Yeah. Maybe that is Gene Roddenberry in the background. He's like, don't you use my spaceships? All right, chill out, Gene.
Did he design them? I don't think he did.
No, he had nothing to do with it whatsoever. I mean, obviously he invented Star Trek, but he didn't, and other things as well. It's not just Star Trek, is it? He did other stuff too.
Yeah, he did, such as it's the candy of 1,000 uses.
No, he did, but all the names of the things. He's involved in quite a lot of that sort of sci-fi stuff. And back at that time, he did. Twilight Zones or something to do with him, is it? I think I don't know.
No, that's Rod Serling.
Can't remember. There's loads of them though. If you look at it, Gene Roddenberry.
There's 2 new Zap hotlines, Graham.
What's that even for?
I know you can hear Kendi Fish speak and listen to me tips. It's crazy.
Who's Kendi Fish?
I don't know. It's some character they created.
Oh, do you know what this is, right? It's the late 80s, isn't it, now? So 1989. This is the birth of the bloody phone, of the cheap phone numbers to ring. Yeah, well, not the birth, but the ring our hotline. It's only, £6.50 a minute. Now, honestly, Gov, nobody's going to get hurt by that.
There are adverts in magazines this month, and have been for a couple of months actually, for Fist. I don't know if you remember Fist, fighting something interactive.
So what magazines are you reading?
Fantasy Interactive something telephone. It was like Steve Jackson created it, so it was fighting fantasy, but you rang up and you pressed one, you were on the telephone line, so you heard it and you played through it on thingy. I rang up quite a bill on my babysitter's phone.
You were popular. Did they ever find out? Or did they ever say anything?
I never said anything. No. The thing is, though,
that's terrible.
They always came back really drunk, so they probably just didn't even understand what was going on.
I think they'd know that they hadn't rung a. Well, you didn't get itemised billing then, did you? You just got the bill. You didn't know such.
Well, yeah, you had to request it, didn't you? And it cost you more if itemised.
Yeah, billing. Absolutely. Yeah, God, those were dark times, weren't they?
Yeah.
This is a little nod, by the way. Just this conversation has reminded me of the classic Anarchy UK demos on the Amiga. And I'm hoping that he's a listener of the podcast. The guy from Anarchy, I'm pretty sure it was Anarchy UK, was a demo group. The guy called Judge Drock, classic demos they used to do Anarchy, some of my faves in the Amiga. But they used to do these demos where they used to ring this person up and like record their phone calls like that we were just talking about, that kind of crazy phone call. And it lives with me to this day when they rang. I think it's somebody called Mr. Giles who just told him that he was a dickhead. And the guy went, "You what?" He was going mad on the end of the phone. I'm sure the demos are out there, and I'm pretty sure Judge Drock is a very active member of the scene still. If you are, hats off to you for those demos. And if you do get a chance, they're bound to be out there somewhere. Go and get this. It was called Ooh, It's Obscene. There was about 5 different parts, but they were brilliant for what they were. Classic. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention it because you saying phone numbers reminded me of that.
And the phone
Don't
numbers
do
as
it,
well.
though.
Yeah, the phone numbers as well reminded me of those phone numbers we found in America.
Oh, yeah. No, we don't talk about them. Goodness me. The police came to the school because of that. Let's never mention that again.
Let's never mention it. Anyway, there you go. That's the cover. And it is what it is.
Yeah, lots of text on there as usual. Lots loaded to the side justified text. I don't know what a zaptionaire is, but never make that a word. What do they call it when they just merge 2 words together into something? It's not very good, that is. Zaptionaire. It says, it's Zap. Is Zap the greatest? What?
Don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
at this point, maybe it won't. Who knows? Anyway, there you go. That's your cover. Should we get in some games and get away from anything litigious?
Quickly, yeah.
Well, let's do it. Let's move into our very first game.
The very first game.
Okay. And that game is ISS, not the International Space Station.
Oh.
But the incredible
That's what I wanted.
shrinking sphere.
Oh.
Yeah. This was $9.99. Got 91%. It's a sizzler.
Woo, sizzlers! Yes.
This is a sizzler. Although I think the name of this game is something of a misnomer because you can shrink, but you can also grow as well.
So
But I suppose IGS, or the IG and SS is not quite as catchy.
It's getting a bit no DNA in the Scotch cadaver for me. It's just...
And you can also increase your mass and lower your mass. It gets all very complicated. The incredible mass shrinking
just spheres then? Just maybe, spheres?
Sphere. This is ISS, Incredible Shrinking Sphere, released by Electric Dreams and developed by Software Studios. You may remember them from Big Trouble in Little China.
Try not to.
And the UK versions of Rampage and Aliens.
Aliens was quite good, if I remember rightly. Aliens was good.
It was produced by Jonathan Dean, coded by Colin Reed, with graphics by Stephen Green, and music by Anthony Lees. There's a good loading screen showing a little alien in a ball, shooting something. Looks like Groku.
It does, actually. It's pretty good, that.
Yeah, I quite like it. Nicely done. And the title screen is good, too. Credits and a high score table. But if you move the joystick in any direction, you'll get to see what all the different panels in the main game do one by one. And that's quite nice. I quite like that. Quite a nice little tutorial in the menu. Always good.
Nice.
Like
Saucy.
Reminded me of sort of some of the stuff that, like what Tony Krauser does a lot of the time. So nice.
Yes,
like that.
Yes, that's true.
The music's also pretty good as well from Mr. Lees. It sounds very reminiscent of Delta. Was it Delta it reminded me of?
It's got a bit of that about it, hasn't it? Yeah.
In Delta, when it first starts off, you're heading off into its own tune after a while, but that is sort of, it's got that just Delta-ish, just something Hubbardish about it. I couldn't quite place it, but I think it was Delta. It's nothing else. It's not brilliant, but it's decent enough. It's all right. Front end, all good. Nice. First impressions are good. What the game? Well, the planet... Okay, story. The planet Sangfalmador is the Sphere Corps' battle training arena, also called the Death Run. That's in capitals. Colonel-in-Chief Matt Ridley, a frustrated desk-bound officer of the Corps Elite, decided to test his skills behind the controls of a fighter sphere, also in capitals, and attempted to complete the Death Run. If I shout, they're in capitals.
Right,
Ridley couldn't handle it. His fighter sphere has been disabled by assassin spheres, and he's now stranded somewhere within the run. Your task aboard a fighter sphere is to find a route through the traps and assassins of Death Run and locate Ridley. This will enable an automatic shuttle sphere rescue.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you?
No, they don't, do they?
Lots of spheres. Some might say this was a lot of balls. Not me, though. I won't be that low.
Not me. No,
not me. I won't make that joke.
No.
Sounds easy, but can you handle it? Can you? Can you, Graham? Can you handle it? So what does all this mean? Anyway, what we have here is an isometric maze game where you control a ball. You must make it through to the end of each level to progress onto the next, more difficult one. That's the game. Pressing fire takes us to the setup phase. So this weird this is, because before we get into the game, we have a setup phase. And here we get a top-down view of the mazes. Yes, each level is made up of 4 floors, or plates, as they are called in the game, and moving up and down on the joystick would allow us to see these. We can press fire on any single one, and then a little cursor will appear, and our option here is to place up to 4 ammo packs anywhere on the 4 plates to allow us to pick them up as we progress through them. So it's up to you where you put them. So the goal is to get to the exit on the 4th plate, so we need to think carefully as to where we place them. There is also the option to not place any of them, as this will give you more bonus points for completing the maze. So it's up to you whether you want to make it easier for yourself, or tougher, but with more reward. Nice touch. You choose your kind of difficulty level to some degree.
Yeah.
There will also see lots of squares on the maze, because you're looking top down, there's like a grid. I can't remember what it is. It might be 10 by 10 or something like that, or 15 by 15, I can't remember. You'll also see lots of squares flashing in the mazes at this point, and that is because these squares already have something on them, so you cannot place your ammo packs on those squares. Pressing fire lets you choose the floor to place an ammo pack, as I said, and if you go to once you're on there, if you go to the walls of the maze and press fire again, that allows you to go back to the choice of choosing the plate floor again, so you can place an ammo pack on 1, floor 1, go to the wall, press fire, move to 2, place 1 there, and so on and so forth. Or don't place any. You don't have to. You can just press space and skip it all and make it dead hard for yourself. It's up to you. You're into the game after that. So I thought the game is nicely presented, actually. Good UI at the bottom, and the main game takes up, I'd say, the top 7/8. I do like our fractions, but I'd say about the 7/8 of the screen is taken up with the game. The UI shows your present speed in the bottom left, ammunition, which is a row of bullets, in the center, and your mass on the bottom right, and also your score. And I like the way that the mass and the speed are actually done. They're quite intuitive once you get playing. I'll explain them in a little bit. The main screen is presented in good old medium res isometric view, but unlike what we saw the other week with that stupid squat thing where it couldn't fit all on, this actually looks all right. This is pretty well drawn. And the angles seem right here. You've got the angles right. They give you a good view of the maze itself.
Yes, they do.
It works. This works. It looks good. It reminded me of that one we looked at a while back, Red Lead. Similar in style. So if you think Red Lead, you're not too far away, except you're a ball. Were you a ball in that? I can't remember what you were in that. You were kind of some kind of droid, I think, weren't you? The ball itself is well done, nicely shaded. The UI is well designed. From a visual standpoint, this is pretty good. It's all a bit pinky and ready in the first level, but it looks fine. And it's pretty fast as well. Smooth scrolling in all directions. And the controls are actually the right way. This is an 8-way movement system, which is great. But moving up moves you up and down is down. And the diagonals are the right way and so on. Yay, no more up for top right or top left and such nonsense here. And it makes your controlling your sphere pretty smooth and intuitive. It works. It like you see it on the screen, you move. It's not, they've got it right. It's like, yay. Other games done it, but we've played so many where top left is up, like Bomboozle and stuff, which you was always breaking your head on when played in the isometric way. No good. Throughout the maze are various squares which affect you in many ways, and these range from squares that increase or decrease your mass. The heavier you are, the harder it is to get moving and things like that. Increase or decrease your size, so it's harder to fit through narrow gaps when you're a bigger sphere. Bouncers, which ping you off like pinball bumpers. There's black holes, which warp you to the plate below, and white holes, which take you back up to the plate above. And you've got to use these precariously to make your way through the mazes. There are shield generators, which give you a shield for a period of time to sort of make you impervious to the enemies that appear. There are ammo dumps, which you have placed. There are bonus points, penalty points. There's even a prison, which locks you in for a short period of time. And there are assassin generators, which spawn enemies, which can be shot, but you only have limited ammo if you haven't taken the ammo dumps and things like that. So you can't go back. So you've got to be careful. There are also ramps, which allow you to jump over walls, but only if you can get enough speed. And also, if you're not too heavy, you don't have enough too much mass, else you'll collapse the ramp. And there are also shortcuts, which can be pushed open, but with enough speed and mass. So you kind of got to weigh this, some squares you got to put yourself heavier. And the way this kind of works, so in the bottom right-hand corner is the mass indicator, and your ball is there. And the heavier you are, the bigger that gets, which is a nice touch. The speed in the bottom left, it's like a little ball, but it's got a ring around it. And the faster you're going, the more that ring sort of appears. So you can kind of judge your speed that way. And it's easy enough to gauge your size because you actually shrink and grow on screen. So the ball gets bigger or smaller depending on what you're doing. So it's quite easy to kind of get your head around, your mass, your speed, and your size. And that's kind of necessary. You also need to keep moving as well, because the tiles you move over, if you are too heavy, I think, will become damaged and instant kills if you go over them again. And that happens a short while after you've moved across them. So you got to keep moving forward. Don't go back. Otherwise, they'll crack and it's death, instant death for you. We lose one of your lives. You get 3 lives. The mazes themselves are not massive, and actually getting through them is not too onerous once you start to learn the shortest way through. The first one is quite simple. So it looks decent, it controls well, and it sounds good. And I quite enjoyed beetling around the mazes and stuff. And once I got my head around the controls and spinning myself around and finding out what the icons did, and I was quite enjoying this. But are there any issues? And unfortunately, yes. And for me, it's quite a big one, because it comes down to when you die and how you die. So collision with a single enemy, if you don't have a shield, spells instant death. You're instantly death. You don't seem to have any kind of energy or anything like that. Run into an enemy, dead. Same with if you go over one of those assassin squares where it's already cracked, dead. Enemies move fast, and they move randomly when they spawn, so avoiding them or trying to shoot them can be a pain in the ass. This is eased somewhat by getting the shield and moving fast, but like Marble Madness and other isometric games, things like Spin Dizzy, which this owes quite a lot to as well, I think. Get other games that have inertia when you move, which this does, and Red Lead. You can easily find yourself bouncing around wildly if not careful, so it doesn't benefit you to go too fast, which means the shield runs out, and if you're out of ammo, death is one touch away. Now, this wouldn't have been so bad if death did not put you all the way back to the beginning of plate 1 with everything reset. And that's no matter what plate you're on. I got down to plate 3 on the first level, taking my time, and then got swarmed by enemies, killed, and just lumped back straight away to plate 1 and I just found it really dispiriting. I was like, what? I don't understand this. It just made me not want to continue, because it's like all that work. What it means is such an annoyance, and it's easily fixable. Either give you some health, so collision was not an instant kill. There's lots of bars in the bottom in the UI that they could have used for health. That wouldn't have been so bad, so you could have survived a few hits, okay? Or putting you back to the beginning of the plate you're on. So if you've made it down to plate 3 or plate 4, just start you back at the beginning of that plate. Easy enough. The game knows where you've come in from because you drop in down a black hole. It knows exactly where you started. Could have just put you there. Putting you all the way back to the beginning is way too punitive for me. And, there's another point as well. It's exacerbated by the fact that the push scrolling of the maze, because it pushes so you get to the edge. It means you have to get quite close to the edge of the screen to make it scroll. And this allows enemies to be almost on top of you before you can react at times, which is a pain in the ass if you don't have a shield, you don't have any ammo, you can't shoot. And then suddenly you got enemies spawning around you all over the place and you're dead. And I think that's a pain as well. Had they kept you central, had the maze scroll with you in the middle at all times, this would again have gone some way to alleviating the punishing nature of death in this, which is a real shame. So it's a well-made game, this. There's lots of nice elements. It's just let down by being far too punishing, which means because what it essentially means is that you have to make a run to the end of the level. At least that's what I found, because every time I died, I went back to the beginning. You have to make a run to the end of the level without losing a life in order to progress. That's the be all and end all of it. It's like, why would you do that? Why not have some checkpoints? I just don't think it's fair. And I think it puts you off. It just put me off wanting to persevere with this because I was enjoying it. I was liking it. I thought the controls were good. It looked good. I liked the mass and the speed and all that kind of thing. Just dying instantly through enemies just suddenly swarming you and you're going all the way back to the beginning. I was like, you know what? I'm not fighting my way all the way through that lot again. So just put me off. And especially it's like you've only got 3 lives. You can get extra lives, but you've got to get all the way, imagine having to try and get all the way through. I think there's 6 mazes or 6 plates to get through, 7 if there's a special one or something towards the end. I got nowhere near that because it's just ridiculously too punishing for that. Shame, really. I was enjoying it up to that point, but you may like it more. I don't know. I just got annoyed with it after that point. What about you?
Yeah. Nice presentation, without a doubt, from the game. It really looked nice. Load it all up. Really nice little intro sequence it had, with the little things comes down, sort of rocket thing comes down with the sounds.
Yeah.
Nice use of colours and logo and everything else. It really looks really well. It reminded me of a Braybrook game, actually, in the way that it presented itself with the kind of raster colours behind the font and all of that. Excellent to see the upper and lower border being dropped out. Good old DO11 being used to full effect there, the old trick. Nice. Interesting, if somewhat indecipherable idea, though, wasn't it? Based on the instructions. The instructions were written in some kind of gibberish, which meant that you kind of had to sort of interpret them a little bit. And that was quite hard to do because they were kind of written in kind of backward talk. So there's 2 parts of the instructions as well. The first part says sort of, if you don't want to bother with instructions, do this. And then halfway through that, it says, why would you do that, idiot? Basically, you're like, oh, okay, fine, thanks. Do it properly. Why put it in there then?
Yep.
I like the sort of isometric graphics idea. It was done well. When you do it well. Whole thing had a kind of Marble Madness meets QDex, Bomboozle, Zigzag kind of vibe about it. So it had all that kind of stuff going for it. None of those things are necessarily bad things. It had the graphics of QDex, the sort of the nice isometric look of Bomboozle, the kind of puzzliness of Zigzag. They're all good things. So just good graphics. But for me, this game just became uncontrollable. And not necessarily, I could edge my way around and I was sort of getting used to the idea of, finding the right things to do. And all of a sudden, I might glance, a pixel glance at something, and all of a sudden I was in a pinging around like a crazy thing. And it periodically seemed to just do that. And then it inevitably ended up with me losing a life. And I'm like, well, hang on a minute. I can't regain control very easily of this.
Yeah, that is tricky at times, yeah.
I let it just do its thing. I wasn't touching the controls. And bear in mind, it's not like I'd run into this little pyramid bumper thing at high speed. I just glanced it. But it was like ping, 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 like a pinball. And I get it. That's kind of the trap of the game. And, but there's a lot of that here. And so on the first level, you need a little bit more space to maneuver. And the controls aren't easy to grasp because of the inertia of them and because of the way it works with the mass and everything else. So you sort of, before you find your feet, you're finding problems. And we've come across that with a few games like this. You need to have a few solutions before you have some problems. Otherwise, the problems become the thing, not the solutions. So I felt like I didn't have enough grip of the controls before I was having to try and fight the controls. And then that started to put me off. And then I felt like I finally managed to get somewhere. I was sort of finally getting to grips with it, got so far, and then it just died. And I was back to square one. I'm like, oh, come on. That's totally unfair.
Yeah, it is.
And I thought, I gave it another shot. I had a gap from it. I thought I'm gonna give it a break because maybe I just approached this in the wrong way. Maybe I was in the wrong frame of mind. I'll come back to it. It does look the part. It looks nice. I gave QDex more of a chance than that, and that's equally as frustrating in its own way. Went back to this, and it's just that pinging around. It just happened again, and I'm like, it was just so annoying to have that happen. When you've got a game that's reliant on its controls and it's got good 8-way controls and you're a sphere and it's all that kind of marble madnessy kind of notion, that kind of control around, that roll around notion. You don't need a lot of pinballing to make it like, oh, just stop. Let me have control of it again. Because once you're out of control of something in a game, you're not participating in the game, you're a spectator. When those things happen, the fun stops. And it did for me. So I thought, nice implementation. There's probably a good game in there if you can decipher it from the instructions. But even if you can't and you do get to grips with it, I think perseverance would pay off. But for me, I was bouncing around too much. And so the fun was pushed out of it before I managed to get it. So not for me, this one. But I can dig it, why it got the kind of scores it did, I think. And it's certainly refreshing, I have to say, for there to be a decent game that's got nice production, it's fully fleshed out, it scrolls really nicely, there's no stupid raster bugs or anything like that. Just a good game. Well-made, good game. It's nice to see that. So hats off for doing that. That it isn't my cup of tea, well, that's unfortunate for me, I think, but there's a good game in there, and it's deserved of its 91% and its Sizzler status, I don't doubt. So not for me, but probably for somebody.
Yeah, somebody who can put up with the nature of the death system. That's what put me.
Yeah, I think that's if you're willing to tolerate the quirks and the bouncing after the pinginess, and then and there'll be people that do want to do that. I'm not one of them though. My patience is so thin. Within seconds, it's like it's almost like I tell you what, it's the only equivalent I can really relate this to in terms of how quickly it got me to anger-inducing switch off. He's trying to play Super Mario World with a 5-year-old. Just never do it. Never do that.
Never do it.
Never do that. And that's the kind of thing you're like, instant rage. No, that has to stop. But it's for somebody, I'm sure.
When you find yourself shouting at a 5-year-old, things have gone badly wrong.
Yeah.
Pop the bubble!
Why did you fall off there? Don't get yourself into that situation.
No, don't.
Unless you want to.
Don't. It's bad. There we go. That's ISS, the International Space Station. It's all right. Floats up above us. Let's move along into our next game. And as we always do, we can hope this is good. Graham, are you the Wanderer? Are you a Wanderer?
They call me the Wanderer. Yay, the Wanderer. It's a Status Quo song, isn't it? It's not as good as the Status Quo song, this. And that's, and some people like Status Quo. Some people don't. I like them.
Praise.
So this is published by Elite, the wondrous Elite. Developed by Walking Circles. I believe this was coded by a Mr. Carlton Handley, friend of the podcast. So we'll go easy. Did you say this was his first game, or this is the first game he did?
I don't know. This was his first game, but it got released second, so they split him in between.
All right. The musician here is Mark Cooksey, the stalwart of Elite. Mark Cooksey, isn't it?
Indeed.
Okay. Begin with this. This is a 3D. Well, this is called Wanderer 3D. At least that's the impression I got off the box, because it's written about 16 times on the box. It says Wanderer 3D at the top, Wanderer 3D in the middle, Wanderer 3D on the back at the top and on the side. And then in little writing, it says 3D glasses enclosed except CBM 64.
I don't know what gave you the impression it was 3D.
I don't know. Something, just the way it was written repeatedly on the side of the tape in the box, really. A bit of an old giveaway. So it's known as Wanderer 3D on other systems. But does that cassette box count as misleading when it says Wanderer 3D? I think it does. I think it includes a boast as well on the front about the Amiga having stereo, audio, and video. And then the first sentence on the back, 3D glasses enclosed, except CBM 64. I think even Trading Standards might have had a bit of a twitch about that anyway.
Probably.
So, oh, goodness me, it's a vector game on the 64. Even before this loads, we can be sure of a couple of things.
It's still my heart.
Firstly, the vectors are going to be horrifically slow. 6502 processors and maths, not a great combo, are they? Indeed, let me tell you something, Adrian. The only of mathematical operations included in the 6502-6510 set of instructions are addition and subtraction. In order to do things like multiplication, division, and all that kind of thing, complicated maths, you have to write a lot of code for it, a lot. So there's that. That's, first thing. And then there's the vector games history on the C64. Lots of attempts, not generally very successful on the whole. So when this does load and the jerking vector wanderer, vector writing, jugs its way around the screen in an attract mode, that is nothing but a reminder of the mathematical inefficiency of this computer. Well, your pulse ain't going to be racing, is it? It ain't going to be, was yours racing? Was this part? I was like,
it was quite still. In fact, my partner had to come in sort of thing and put those electric things on my chest to get it going again. It was that still.
Anyway, got into the blurb of this, and there is a blurb. Money isn't everything, or so they say. Unless, of course, you happen to be the Wanderer. Okay. Deep breaths, everyone. The Wanderer is a space rebel and intergalactic soldier of fortune who fights other people's battles for cash. He can be hired for the right price, but don't expect any favors. Okay. Right. Okay, that's the introduction. The plot. VAD, VADD, VAD, an intelligent android, uses his army of war drones to rule over a vicious union of 10 planets. The planets are offering a reward for the destruction of the evil overlord, and the Wanderer intends to claim it. VAD lives at the center of the galaxy, heavily protected by war drones. The Wanderer needs a powerful disruptor that will confuse the war drones and allow him to challenge VAD. The Wanderer has a choice. All of a sudden, I feel like we're talking about somebody in the third person, but it's okay. The Wanderer has a choice. Either he can try to build his own mega disruptor, or he can prove himself to the planets so that they supply him with their only remaining one. You are the Wanderer. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the... So... I
don't want to be.
Yeah.
You can't make me.
No. The 10 planets want to destroy VAD and his army of war drones. You control them to achieve the same. They have hired you, the Wanderer. Your task is to assemble the components of the mega disruptor, without which you cannot hope to enter the dreaded VAD sector. There are 2 ways you can do this. 8,000 megs, or is that 8 gig, essentially? By moving disruptor units from planet to planet. Yeah, you can get a memory stick for that. It's pretty straightforward these days.
They're about £5 from Tesco's. You'd be in no trouble.
Exactly. You can challenge the VAD. No, easy, just get a nip to Tesco, you're done. So from planet to planet, you earn megs, the universal galactic currency. I thought that was do-re-mi. Anyway. When you have 8,000 megs, you will have proved yourself to the planets, and they will give you a mega disruptor. Or, I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way, the 10 planets have 5 disruptor units each, and you initially have 2. The 3 black holes each contain 1 variable disruptor unit. If you can retrieve those, you too will have 5 units. If at this point you hold a mega disruptor made up of the 4 most valuable units plus 1 variable disruptor unit, you may enter the VAD sector. I'd go for option A. Just get the 8 gig memory stick from... Tesco. Don't bother with that crazy calculated maths nonsense. To navigate this, the galaxy is divided into 49 sectors arranged in a 7x7 grid. The central sector contains VAD, and you cannot enter it until you have your mega disruptor, so you've got to complete task 1 or 2. There are 10 planets and 3 black holes at fixed positions on the grid. The remaining 36 sectors are space sectors, or space to you and me. On first entering the game, you can choose any of the space or planet sectors as your starting point. Yeah, exactly. Space is big. Or at least it's 7x7, isn't it? So you can choose any of the planet space or planets as your starting point by moving the cursor to that point and pressing fire. Note that you will not be able to select areas such as black holes and the VAD sector until you have the necessary ability score or a mega disruptor. Don't try and enter VAD without a mega disruptor, all right? Your name's not VAD and you're not coming in.
True. When
you've selected a sector, your ship will travel through space on autopilot to your destination. Or go like this. Hey.
Yep.
So there you go. Travel through space. How did that feel? Good?
It was spacey.
Select the sector you wish to visit using the joystick and press fire. And note you can only select legitimate sectors. For a sector to be legitimate, it must fulfill the following criteria. You won't know this, by the way. It must be within range, but your range depends on your ability score, which is really, really stupid because it should arrange, really, your range should really be based around your fuel or something that's tangible.
Yeah.
Your ability to get there is neither here nor there, is it? It's directly affected by fuel.
Especially if it's autopilot.
Exactly. Just the autopilot goes, no, my ability doesn't reach over there. Can't get you there, sorry. But how is that? Anyway, it doesn't matter. If you wish to enter the VAD sector, as I've said before, you must have either 8,000 megs or a mega disruptor, all right? And then there's the different kinds of sectors. I'm not going to go into them all, but there's space sectors, black hole sectors, planet sectors, and you can land on the planets and you can exchange stuff. And there's a whole raft of sequences and things that you can do and change things and exchange disruptor units for regulars. There's a little bit of a mini game in that, but I'm not going to bore you with it, and I'll tell you why, because you won't get that far. You won't get that far. The aim of the game is actually to just wander around space in 3D. And I imagine in 3D, this might have had something. Granted, it would still be a little bit jerky even on a Spectrum, but it would be in 3D, which is the thing of the game, isn't it? Mm-hmm. The graphics here, outside of the 3D, the Mega 3D, are a rudimentary cockpit with some basic info at the top. Your megs, current megs, remember you need 8,000. Mm-hmm. Your score, your ability shields, and then speed, energy at the bottom, and what looks like an early 8-bit DJ mixing console down the bottom there. It's meant to be radar, I think, but to me it looked like you were mixing, some DJ mixing at the bottom there. But probably would have been better, actually, I think. Anyway.
Yeah, probably.
In the middle of this, what looked like an array of vector zigzags is where the game plays out. Stars, dots, as they are plotted floating around as you fly through space. You start with your map, galaxy selection screen, like I said, so you choose planet or space, essentially, and you'll fly there. Then you'll just wait around for stuff to jolt its way to you in slow vector movements. You have two kinds of spikes that kind of protrude from the lower left and right-hand corners of the window that represent your weapons, which fire vector bullets precisely along the perspective lines with a click of a fire button, slowly and painfully as well. Moving a joystick will move them so you can badly target the vector objects that slowly shuffle towards you. Not that you'll recognize what they are, because I'm not sure what they are. It took me ages to realize that it said Wanderer in the opening things because it took that long for that word to appear. I'm like, what is that? Oh, it's Wanderer. Goodness me, that's okay.
I wondered what it was.
And by the way, if you're not near a planet and in space, you can accelerate and decelerate the Q&A keys. It took me ages to figure this out. I don't know why. Indeed, It's not the only issue, really, but, it's legacy vectors, legacy controls. I'm pretty sure this is probably all keyboardy bits, a legacy Spectrum and legacy other machines. This is just the C64's had this converted. Will you want to persevere with all of this? No, it's not 3D, is it? That's the thing. That was its thing. It was Wanderer 3D. If it's not Wanderer 3D, and it's just boring vectors. We've had loads of other vector games. It's just you're just wandering.
Yeah.
Not fast, which is also the other thing. So not only is this not 3D, it's also slow. Those are the two worst things for a vector game to be.
It's every vector game.
If you're going to make a vector game interesting and you're going to put it in 3D, don't take away one of its Ds. That's the D that it needed to make it interesting. Now it's just boring. It's a dreary FPS nightmare, this, with a very large asking price for what it is. I mean, I'm not a great fan of any of this sort of thing, but if you're going to go for something like this, get Mercenary, because it's out on budget, I think, by now. Or if you're into vector games, maybe even, dare I say, Elite, because that's better than this. This one, really, for me, shows the challenges that this kind of code faces on the C64. It's just, we've said it a million times, this is not the machine for it. Now, hats off to Carlton, because the coding vectors is a challenge on any system, and I don't know how he sat and done that. That's crazy good. I can't imagine the difficulty of trying to get a machine that only does addition and subtraction to work out complicated mathematical vectors. Hats off to you, Carlton, for doing that. But two fingers to Elite, who blatantly false advertised this piece of crap. So, I feel for you, Carlton. If this is your first game, you did a good job with what you could do on a C64, but you were doomed to failure with this. And the rest of it, well, if you imagine you get the 3D game, Adrian, you open the cassette, because you wouldn't have read that on the back. And there's no 3D glasses. You're like, oh, there's no 3D glasses. So it must just work without them. Yeah, of course it does. Yeah, of course it does. Okay. It's in 3D because it is. Yeah. It's all 3D, isn't it? What do you think?
I'll tell you what's interesting about this game. This game originally, and I completely forgot about this machine. It seems that this game was originally released on the Sinclair QL.
I forgot about the QL, but
yeah. So I was just reading about the QL. But yeah, I completely forgot about what the hell that was. And it was it was a souped up Spectrum, basically. And that's where this game started. And it came out in 86 on the QL and the Atari ST.
There you go.
Which explains a lot, is what it is. And then somewhere down the line, they thought, C64 owners should be punished with this as well.
No, we shouldn't have been.
I don't know what this is. I read the instructions. I selected something on a grid. I was beset by slow-moving vectors. I then ended up in some kind of select screen. I then ran into a chair floating in space.
Space chairs.
And then I got put back to the grid. I was like, what? Slow-moving vectors on the C64 are never going to get my adrenaline pumping, that's for sure. There was very little even around the edges to engender any interest in this game. I'm not going to overgo Carlton here because I believe this was his first game. But my main beef with this is it's crap. I mean, it's shit. It's shit from the get-go. So, It's dreadful. It's a dreadful idea for a game, whatever it is. But the fact that Elite, I don't know, did they ever release this? Was this released? It was £9.99.
I know,
£10.
it's shocking, isn't it?
Yeah, releasing this for £10 with a small little addendum on the back going, it's not 3D. Even though you said it's all 3D on the front. Take that off the front of the C64's version. I know, whatever, but you're releasing this for tenner on unsuspecting players, some gimmick of 3D tacked on and then tacked off.
Yeah, it's not nice.
Publishers, they're just the worst back then.
Yes, and I don't believe these screens on the back of the box are from the C64 either. I'm pretty sure they're from the Amstrad or Spectrum. They're single colour, so they're not 64s.
Who knows what they are? It's a dreadful game. It got 16% and deservedly so. I'm very sorry, but it's rubbish. But, someone's first game. But it's one of those things we said before. You're learning your trade, you learn your craft, and you got paid for doing what you did, but you're converting crap to crap. You're converting crap already to a machine that can't do it.
By the way, have you seen the front cover of this, the box?
Yeah.
How bad is that? I mean, not just the 3D part, but the fact that it's got a poodle floating in space in a push bike.
And a big red arrow for some reason.
Yeah, explain that to me. Well, that's the 3D part, isn't it? So I'm guessing when you look at it with your glasses on, you'd get the 3D effect, wouldn't you? Supposedly, I'm guessing, because of the arrows.
None of that's got red and blue around it, though. So I don't think, no, it's just garbage. There's a bike, there's a couple of planets, Wanderer 3D. Yeah. This is the C64 version. And like you said, on the back it says, not the C64 version.
Yeah, there's even a picture of 3D glasses to like tease you in the corner. It's like, yeah, you don't get them.
There's even thinking of stereo video.
Yeah, it's like totally blatantly false advertising, that is. I'm ringing that. There's a hotline number. I'm ringing it.
Ring it now and fill up their answer machine with gibberish. One night. Anyway, Wanderer is crap. Yes. Sorry, let's move along to an equally as crap thing. There's only 6 games this week, by the way. We didn't say. Things are slowing up.
All we could stand.
It is all we could stand, yeah. Let's get to the third one for this part. And next up, after the wonder that was Wanderer, is 4 soccer simulators. If that don't get your heart going again, don't know what will. From Codemasters, because of course it is. Got simulator in the word. Yeah. Comes not 1, not 2, not even 3, but 4 soccer simulators in one package.
4?
Yeah, that's 4 games for £9.99. That must be the bargain of the year.
That's what they always charge, isn't it?
What, $9.99?
That's more than their average, actually. Yeah, they're normally £2 a game.
Exactly.
4 games at £2. This is more than that.
Yeah. Oh, Richard and David, darling, you're spoiling us with these riches. Spoiling us with these 4 games. Anyway, so this had just about everyone working on this at Codemasters, even the T-Boy, I think. It's got designed by David Darling, Gavin Rayburn, Mark Baldock, Mike, Pete, Peter Williamson, Richard Darling, and Rick. I'm sure Rick is Richard, Pete is Pete Williamson, Mike is whoever. What?
Yeah.
It's got coding by Codemasters Squad and Smart Egg Software. Graphics by the Codemasters Squad and Linda Stewart. Like, it's no Lindas. But you've let Linda Smith in. It's no Lindas. You can't be part of the Codemasters Squad, Linda. Oh, poor old Linda Stewart. Why does she get singled out and have her name against this, where everyone else was just shielded by the Codemasters Squad?
Yeah, she's not part of the squad.
You've let Linda Smith in. No Lindas.
No Lindas. Sorry.
And music by David Whittaker.
Of course it is.
Good
Not
Lord.
all of it, but of course it is.
Yeah, I'm just going to give a mention to the cover, where 2 players in kits never seen in any league are leaping for the ball with faces that have been drawn by someone who hates humanity.
So true.
I don't know what those faces. They scare me. They just scare me.
Yeah, they've seen a human once.
All right, something had happened. Anyway, each of these 4 soccer simulators is a separate load as well. So once you've had your fill of one, you need to reset and reload the whole thing to enjoy another one. That's great, isn't it? The 4 soccer simulators you have to choose from are Street Soccer, Soccer Skills, technically not a soccer game, 11-a-side soccer, and indoor soccer. So technically this is 3 soccer simulators and a training exercise.
Why are they calling them football?
To appeal to the global market.
They're not going to be interested in this rubbish.
Well, we
They're just
weren't.
going to feel sympathy and pity for us.
Yeah, this is a soccer feast. I'll go through these one at a time, and then I'll tell you whether this plethora of soccer is any good or not. So, street soccer is up first. According to the instructions, this is excellent fun. Soccer with no rules, and you'll have great fun as you shoot the cars off the houses and around the trees, just like the real thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what any of that means. That sentence, soccer with no rules, you'll have great fun as you shoot the cars off the houses and around the trees. I was like, none of that makes sense. That's exactly word for word what's written in the front blurb. Just like the real thing. Like, is what?
What is?
I used to play football on a street. That's not what we did. There were no trees.
Kick cars off houses.
Yeah, and if we kick the ball at the car, someone would come out and shout at us.
Yes, they're very angry.
Yeah, exactly.
Very angry.
Anyway, after the crap loading screen, where perspective is damned for all eternity, we get the menu screen. Selection here is space to move the arrow.
Oh, stupid control.
Selection here is space to move the arrow down the menu and return to select. Why not up and down on the joystick and fire to select? Why not? I mean, it's right there. It's right there.
Why not?
Anyway,
why?
Why not? Anyway, you can play 1 or 2 players, change from keys to joystick controls, view the high scores, high scores in a football match. Don't understand. Change the names, the game length, and ball bounce from low to high. Starting a game seems a knockoff Micropro Soccer greet your eyes. High-res sprites run about a road with cars and back gardens. The UI at the bottom shows the players' names, and the score and the time left. And you play until the game is over, and that's about it. Is it any good? I'm going to sum up everything up at the end. You can wait.
Okay, makes sense.
Next, let's try some soccer skills, not soccer. God. Here we get to dribble a ball, take some penalties, save some penalties, do some sprinting, do some press-ups, do some bar jumps, some weightlifts, some sit-ups, and some more bar lifts.
For what reason?
I don't know. Controls didn't work with my joystick, so it just wouldn't work. So I was forced to resort to keys here. The controls are all fairly self-explanatory, except for things like bar jumps, sit-ups, and weightlifts, which require alternative up and down diagonals to do the event.
Oh, no.
It's just stupid. Anyway, once you've been sorely trained, whatever with them, I'm not going to go through them. We'll come to them at the end. Once you've been sorely trained, it's back out on the field for some 11-a-side soccer.
Okay, isn't that just the actual name football? Okay.
Yeah, football. Yeah, we get some football, basically. After we get the weird loading screen with someone brandishing a Graham Souness puppet at another team, we are greeted with another knockoff Micropro Soccer without all the good bits. The menu is the same as the Street Soccer, and the gameplay is the same, except we're on a pitch now. The UI is also the same, as are the options. It's the same, we're just on a pitch.
Same. Change the background.
On to the last one, which is Indoor Soccer. Now, my copy kept crashing loading this, so I couldn't play it, which, whatever. I think the emulator had had enough. Vice had just gone, no more. No more. But I took a quick look on YouTube, and it's more of the same, only with a blue pitch, and you can't go into the opposing team's area like in five-a-side. The main menu again was the same, and the UI is the same, as are the players and the visuals. So there you go, 4 soccer simulators. Well, 3 and a trainer. Where do I start with this? Where? The actual football in all 3 of the football parts is terrible. Just dreadful. Floaty controls and awful physics. Players run about all over the place, and for a lot of the time, the scrolling can't keep up with the ball, as it somehow manages to gain speed well after you've kicked it. After it's bounced, slows down, speeds up again. The scrolling goes, hold on, ball, hold on.
Did they say this was based on Earth?
Hold on, ball, I can't keep up. It's a very shabby rip-off of Micropro Soccer, which does this kind of thing 1,000 times better. In the street football mode, street soccer, however, it was often the case where the opposing team would get stuck against a wall and would not move as their AI just broke, and no amount of kicking at them would get the ball free. There's also a garage which they could fit into and just get stuck in.
Yep.
They just run into a garage and go, hey, I'm stuck.
Surprising amount of times as well.
Jesus, woeful on every aspect. But don't even get me started on the training thing. Pressing restore crashed the game every time. The events outside are populated by a single colour see-through sprite that disappears when you move in a diagonal direction. Which is great for the penalties when you want to run it. You don't know where you're running. No. Or dribbling. You can't see your sprite. Also in the penalties, the goalkeeper is a single colour sprite until they dive. And then they gain all their colours.
Just
woeful. Bad. The bar lifts and press-ups are interrupted by you running out of energy constantly. So you cannot do them fast because you have to stop every other couple of moves to wait for your energy to get back up. I'm 51. Not in the best of shape. I can do 15 press-ups and sit-ups without having to pause for energy.
Yes.
So none of this makes any sense. These are supposed to be football professionals.
They need training.
This is software diarrhea.
Yes.
This is a pox on the machine every way. $9.99. This had been an insult at $1.99, and it's the greatest crime here. The fact that the instructions are replete with phrases like "just like the real thing," "excellent fun," "a true simulator," "absolutely brilliant," so on makes me actually angry when I played this. A messed up sack of shit of a game that deserves to be buried in the desert for the ants to eat. Except a lot, whatever. An awful thing, utter garbage, dreadful, a mess of a thing that they could foist off with all those names and all those things and all those rubbish. One of the worst things I've ever had the misfortune to come across. And I've been on Safari. What did you think?
Crap. I don't even like football games particularly, but this is just 4 pieces of crap, isn't it? I mean, just to quickly run down them, I noticed not to add any much more to what you've said or to give them any longevity, because that shouldn't happen.
No.
Street Soccer, it was the music from Professional BMX Simulator by Matt Gray. So why do that if you've got music from Dave Whitaker and the others?
Okay.
Yeah, that's the music from Professional BMX Simulator.
Oh, God.
For some reason. Loads of options, but using space to select them and then press return. Was that hacked out code for a goof, I thought? Is they just do that to just mess about with people's heads? The sprites were that kind of, they'd obviously taken a leaf out of the high res on medium res sprite, but then made them uncontrollable with weird inertia that I wish would happen in real football when players just ran towards the ball, but when they were running too fast, they couldn't slow down quick enough, so they just ran past the ball, then sort of doubled back on themselves and span around. And I'd want to see more of that, more Scooby-Doo-ish footery. Yeah, the scenery made no sense in that first one. The ball got stuck in the wall when I played it. And then so did the player trying to get it, which was hilarious. So I just watched the countdown happen as the player was just going, and the ball got stuck in the goal. I thought, imagine if that happened in real life. You just kicked the ball into the wall, and when you went to get it, you just merged with the wall. Yeah, it's exactly. It's a simulation. That's happened clearly. In
we lost loads of kids back in the day to wall merging.
And then I scored a goal and it just didn't count. It was like, no. I just put the ball in. It was like, no, you didn't. It's like, right, you're done, mate. So I switched it off because I blatantly scored a goal and it was like, no, you didn't. I want a goal that. But the ball was in the goal and it stayed there for ages. Nobody was getting it. It was just there. It's like, what is going on? The soccer skills just took ages and ages. All of this took ages to load. That was ripped off music again. I'm sure that wasn't for this. It might have been. Really horrible title screen, though. Loads of stupid options. Really terrible graphics in that bit.
Dreadful.
Monocolour sprites, twitchy and naff controls. And the only bit that I played that made me laugh out loud was the goal saving. Because the rest of it was horrible. But the goal saving with that naff single colour sprites that flickered and disappeared and vanished. I dived and he just vanished. Like, where's he gone? And then you kick the ball and the ball disappeared. I'm like, what's happening here?
For soccer simulators.
No wonder we always lose at penalties because somehow you can kick the ball and make it invisible. I thought that explains a great deal. Great deal. That was just awful. The 11 aside, as we like to call it, actual football. Has it ever been called 11 aside by anybody? Is there an arbitrary number for that? Is there like, can you play any aside? Is like, we're not playing 11 aside today, lads. There's too many of us. We're going to have to play 32 aside. Is everyone okay with that?
Something that's not, you say 5 aside or 7 aside. But if you say we're having a proper game of football, it's just assumed it's 11 aside. 11.
Anyway, it was exactly the same as the street soccer with all the same problems. That weird inertia running around made me laugh again. The Keystone Cops version of football. The player selection thing was really stupid when you pressed fire because it was so intuitive. It didn't know what you were doing. I was like, I want that player. No. What do you mean that one? I'm like, let me select the player that's near the ball. Nah, you don't. That's not how it works in football. It is. That's exactly how it needs to work for me to be able to do what you need me to do. I kicked the ball off the screen and it made me, last is the part made me laugh. And when I did this, I was thought about you and thinking, this is going to annoy Adrian so much. Because I kicked the ball off the screen, and like you said, it just went off the screen. It's like, where's it gone? I was like, so I ran down the screen finally scrolling, and it was like, oh, it's there. But by that point, it's like, this is stupid.
Yep.
How am I supposed to pass the ball to another player when I kick it towards them, and then ball just vanished off the screen? I'm like, what's going on here?
Yep.
Anyway, and also, by the way, all the way through this, the sound was like distant explosions going off. It was like, where are we playing this game? We're in some battleground somewhere.
Yep.
And then I had the same problem with it. Thank mercifully for me, the indoor soccer even with a slowdown, I turbocharged it to try and get it to load 600% faster. It didn't. It was like, no, it had enough by then. It's like, I am not playing that fourth one. Get lost. And I'm glad because it was rubbish. But to all of it, absolute shocking how bad that is. So many people working on it. What were they doing?
Supposedly it took them 12 months as well. They were working on it for 12 months. I read somewhere. They were working on it for ages.
If they worked on that for 12 months, clearly it just, it was, I don't know what happened. Something went badly wrong. That isn't for games of anything. It's for broken things. There's no playable game in there. Don't spend your $9.99 thinking you're getting 4 football games for your money because you're not. Pitch in a little bit extra and go and get Mag Pro Soccer and play a real football game made by...
Or Emlyn Hughes.
Or even that... There was even that little budget one that we saw that was
that was
nearly
all right,
there.
right? Yeah, that was okay.
Better than all of the games that you're going to get in that piece of crap. All those people...
Super Cup or something. Super Cup Soccer or something.
It shouts anger at that somebody that's had a successful game, and so these have just jumped on a bandwagon with a load of bits of code that they've had. They've thrown them together, made it kind of work. Stick it out for a tenner. Someone will buy it. Rubbish. No leagues. No ways. No proper
that's
teams.
What I mean, yeah. There's nothing. There's no leagues. No cups. No overarching sort of.
What are the team names? Because when I played the 11 aside, I'm thinking they scored. And I was like, and it just says like Ludo. I'm like, who's playing here? What teams are these?
Don't know.
And then I thought to myself, I'd never selected any. What teams are they? Just like Benson United versus Club Town OK. What are they?
They're not.
Anyway, they didn't even put their own names in it. They're not even like a team called, like the Codemasters. No. Stupid, rubbish. Nah, no more now. Go away, Codemasters.
Yeah, I mean, even that crappy Roy the Rovers one, which was awful. Let's not beat around the bush.
Yeah.
Had Melchester versus the All Stars or something.
Melchester, exactly. Used to have a name.
Melchester releases from Roy the Rovers, didn't it? So it had a name. This could have had anything. Could have had the Codemasters All Stars versus the Egg Squad or whatever it was. Smart Egg.
Yes, it
could have. Okay, but no, nothing. Just dreadful. Just a dreadful thing, this.
Yes.
All round. That bloody picture with that guy with his hand up of Graham Souness puppet as well. You can look at all these. You go look at go to Moby Games, look at the loading screens. They're all there. You can see them.
They are all
Pretty
there.
sure.
They're all there for you to see.
Oh, there we go. That's our first half done. That's 3 games. We're going to need a break.
I think we do.
We need a break. I was really angry playing the last one. As Wanderer bored me, but Force Soccer Simulator angered me to the point of like shouting at the screen. More so than playing Super Mario Brothers as a 5-year-old. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break. We will be back. We've got singles for April 89.
Yeah.
So yeah, stick around. We'll be back. And we're back. Let's get into some music. Singles for 1989. Let's get the first, what was number 1 for the month? Well, for the first week, it's a 5-week month. For the first week, still was Madonna with Like a Prayer.
Big seller, that one. A huge hit. Not necessarily in the Vatican, but everywhere else. Pretty good.
No, it did not go platinum in the Vatican.
Platinum in the Vatican, yes.
Didn't do that. Yeah, the Pope wasn't amused, but the rest of the world really dug it. However, for the next 4 weeks of the month, it was the one, the only Eternal Flame by the Bangles.
Yes, the classic song with the classic ting sound.
Yeah, ting, ting.
Da, 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 ting.
Ting. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just a classic power ballad, isn't it? And
yes.
the people who wrote this, I mean, we might have probably mentioned them before, but it was written by Susanna Hoffs, who sang it with the established hit songwriting team of Billy Steinberg and Tom Kelly.
Goodness.
Steinberg and Kelly, they'd written number 1 hits like a Virgin, True Colours by Cyndi Lauper, Eternal Flame of the Bangles, So Emotional, Whitney Houston. They did Alone, which is covered by Heart. They also co-wrote the hit songs I Drove All Night, Roy Orbison, I Touch Myself to the Vinyls, and I'll Stand By You by the Pretenders. That's quite
It's quite a list of hits, really, that.
Yeah.
It's a good song, Eternal Flame, actually. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's got a good build, and and good vocals, and Susanna Hoffs is Susanna Hoffs, but too many notes.
Too many notes in that. We'll put a link to the live version that they did on a video. I think it's a Video Awards. I can't remember, but goodness me, too many notes. Just lose a few and you'll be fine.
She's a very, very beautiful woman.
She is. Yes, she is.
Yeah.
It's a good song as well. Good song.
Good song. 2nd of April. And at number 19, If You Don't Know Me By Now, by Simply Red.
Simply Bread. Give them their official name. Simply Bread. A bread song about a bread product made by a bread man. Bread.
If you don't need me by now.
If you don't need me. There's probably a full bread version of that album actually out there. And
there must be.
If You Don't Need Me By Now is probably the original version somewhere. You can't put the word need in it. Oh, I can't. Yeah, because that's too painful for me to think about.
The good thing about this was it was kept off. This goes to number 2 and stays at number 2 for the rest of the month. And it was kept off number 1 all month by the Bangles, which made me happy. Yeah, absolutely. I bet Mick Hucknall saw Simply Red at that. Oh,
very good. Do you know, it's the worst game of rock, paper, scissors, isn't it? Bangles beats bread. I like that. So if you're playing, Bangles, scissors, Hucknall, whatever variation you might be playing of that, for reasons that you might be. If you hold out a bangle...
It can only be beat... Well, if you hold out a bangle, it beats a loaf.
Try not to think about it too much.
What does a loaf beat?
I don't think I thought about it that far.
I've got to be thinking now.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll park it for now. We'll come back to that.
All right, okay. In at number 21 is Mystify by In Excess.
Mystify me, mystify. Mystifies me why anyone would listen to that. It's a bit dreary for them, felt to me. It's not saying it's terrible. It's just compared to their other output, the song feels a bit, a bit dreary.
I like it, but there you go. I like In Excess. There's a really good version of this with just piano and Hutchence. I can't remember what it's on. I think it might have been on a Jules Holland or something, but there's a nice version that I sort of saw on YouTube once.
I imagine it's probably got its thing. It sounds dreary compared to some of the other stuff.
I like his vocals in it, but there you go. Number 38, What Does It Take by Then Jericho.
They sound so much like U2. It's just like, is this U2?
Well, it's U2 as they used to be, as we'll find out. But
yeah, that's very true.
I mean, it's not Big Area. If it's not Big Area, I'm not bothered with Then Jericho.
This isn't Then Jericho. This is just their other name is Us Two, or We Three, or something.
Yeah, then it's them Jericho.
Didn't like it.
Yeah, I want to be. No, I only like Big Area, like I said. Number 45 is Only the Moment by Mark Almond.
Okay. Yes.
I didn't know what to make of this song. Not for me. Bit boring. And the chroma keys, you notice strong in that video.
Yeah, it's not great, is it? You missed Devotion, by the way, 10 City.
Oh, sorry, I did, yeah. Number 39 is Devotion by 10 City.
Yeah, just go and check the top of the Pops clip I put in for him. There's 50 seconds of that song is him going, Hey-oh.
It is. I don't think that this sound really worked over here in the UK. I don't think it's just not. It's not for us. It's just we just weren't.
No. At this time, I think you're right. There. I think you're right. And Mark Armand, of course, yes, I think we're probably more prepared for his singing, but not that kind of chroma key
or that Quantal Paintbox stuff that was going on.
All that kind of horrible graphics. And when you see it's always when somebody zooms on chroma key. Because then it looks like they're just floating through something, and it's like, no, never do the zoom on a chroma key. It's like, no. Anyway,
never do it. One place behind at number 46 is "Please Don't Be Scared" by Barry Manilow.
You probably would be if you bumped into Barry Manilow. Do you know he is a very dangerous man?
Well, I find the title for this disturbing. Please don't be scared. It's like, why? What are you going to do?
Exactly. It's another love ballad from the master of the love ballad, though. He's a nice guy, Barry Manilow.
It is.
But if you know him and you know what there is to know about him, just be careful. Be
careful what you say here.
Nothing litigious. It's just, don't eat his cheese. I'll leave it there.
That's true. The song is very sincere, though.
Yes, yeah. It's like power sincerity. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it really is. It's true sincerity in this song.
Yeah, you feel every word, don't you?
You really do. He means it.
Do you think it's Gary Lineker's had something to do with it? Barry Manny high, Barry Manny low. Yes, it's Barry Manilow, Gary. Barry Manilow, Manny high. Just it's Barry to you.
You have lots of things on floor, many low.
Bedtime. Time for Gary. It's 6:00. Bedtime for Gary. God's sake.
Okay.
It's like a pigeon. You can just put a cover over him and he's like, it's dark. Night night.
Gary Low.
Manny Low. Quite down there. Otherwise, there's 2 blankets that'll be going on there.
You don't want that. At number 49 is "With Every Heartbeat" by 5 Star.
Oh, dear. I watched this video, right? And I was like, wow, they look like 5 Star. They sound exactly like 5 Star. They sound exactly like I expect them to sound. But unfortunately, like a bit Jackson's, dare I say it? Sorry, they do.
I mean, well, yeah, it's exactly like 5 Star, but it just, for me, it sounded like very, very sanitized Janet Jackson.
Yeah, it completely is that. I mean, down to the sound and the look and everything. It seems odd that they never stepped out of that. I suppose it was successful for them. Why would they? But it just seems that they just, they're just like a cover band of another band. It's really strange that they went through the whole thing. I mean, talented, no doubt, but were they kept in like a box and, that's it? I don't know.
Irony being that none of their albums ever got 5 stars. It's always a shame.
Always a shame.
In at number 50 is "This Is Your Life" by the Blow Monkeys.
Yeah. Bland core, wasn't it, for me?
Yeah.
Horrible, yeah.
And I posted a picture there from the video, and he's got a striped loose polo neck T-shirt on with a jacket done up, all buttons. Just no.
Yeah, see, you never do your buttons up on a suit like that. You follow the rules, all right? Sometimes, always, never. That's the rules for buttons on your blazer. If you've got 3 buttons, sometimes, always, never. That's the rules. Just so you know, top down. Sometimes, always, never. Not all of them at once with stripes. Never do that.
No.
The punishment for that is to be pushed into a swimming pool and drowned, which is what's happening in that video.
It is, yeah. Well, if only it were for a chroma key, yeah, we would be. In at number 59 is "Me, Myself and I" by De La Soul.
Me, Myself and I.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind this track, but I noticed that you and Mr. Brown Sauce got into a bit of a discussion about this in the week, so... Yes,
because I wanted to consult the Brown Sauce, because he's a man of knowledge.
The Brown Oracle.
The Boracle.
You never want to go near his Brown Oracle.
I don't even want to think about that. So because I wasn't sure, because I thought, is this sanitized hip hop for the kind of kiddies? My thought process was this was record execs and politicians pushing back against the challenges of acts like NWA that were kind of causing all sorts of ruckus for the popular record industry at the time. And I thought this confusing cacophony, which is kind of how De La Soul comes across to me a little bit, like there's a whole barrage of sounds that are happening at the same time and it's very inoffensive. It was very popular. Was that really what rap was aiming to be about? I had a discussion with Brown Sauce. He said, actually, yes, it was completely that. This was an attempt to try and bring the party back to rap and not necessarily have it all. The thought process is it's all about violent gangsters and gang-related culture and all of that. That there is, at its heart, it was a popular party music and it can still be that. And there's broad enough spectrum for all of those things. Now, that could be the one taken. He posted a really good article to me, which I'll stick in the show notes, which is a good sort of a breakdown about the whole where De La Soul and all of this sits in kind of the rap music canon. I don't know a lot about it, which is why I deferred to Brown Sauce to see what he knew. And it turns out he knows loads about it. Unfortunately, I couldn't maintain my interest level for the length of time required
No, he did. His WhatsApp became what's that?
Yeah, it's just got to the point
Sorry,
where I was
Harry.
like, I was just, my thumb was just over the delete app button, going. And I thought, no, okay, I'll leave it. But no, in all fairness to him, he's a big fan of De La Salle, which I didn't know. I knew he liked it. I didn't know he liked it that much. But it's hard to gauge with brown sauce because he likes everything a lot.
He does like everything a lot.
But it was good to get his opinion. It's always good to get the opinion of brown sauce about things like that, and he has good things to say about it. Just took a while.
He did. And number 92 is The Look by Roxette.
Good old Roxette.
Yeah,
it's going to be a big hit before, didn't we? Yeah, it's huge.
You got the look.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
She was a amazing singer. Sadly passed away and all that. We said that about her before, didn't we? Very good stuff.
9th of April. In at number 12 is When Love Comes to Town by U2 with BB King.
Yes, and I've corrected the statement originally. The original statement was, and so begins U2's gradual ascension up their own posteriors. And then, as Adrian rightly pointed out to me, begins. I thought, yeah, he's right. So I've changed that to, and so continues U2's rapid ascension up their own posteriors. Makes more sense.
It does make more sense. Good Lord.
This is when they were really going up their own bottoms, wasn't it, with the pretentious shite?
Yeah, they really were. Number 19, Good Thing by Fine Young Cannibals. It's very sort of doobie bop sort of. Thing. I mean, this and She Drives Me Crazy were their two big hits, I think, weren't they? I think this was about it.
Yeah. This is. I remembered this one. Since I didn't remember it by title, and then when I looked at the video and heard it, I'm like, oh, it's that one. And I was like, oh, yeah. But I still don't like his honking, but it was like,
very mod angle with the video as well, which is kind of a bit, not sure it fitted totally with the song. But
it turns out, as you spotted in the last episode, he's a much better singer, which is saying something, than he is an actor, because I watched Scandal as well. I'm great in that. So.
I wonder why I watched Scandal after my my review.
What do you think I watched it? I wanted to see that guy's haircut.
Because it's a very good film. That's exactly it.
His haircut is ridiculous.
That haircut,
Ian McKellen's hairstyle. I mean, stitches. I don't know what you can call that. It's just a blob of hair in the back middle of his head. It's really weird. It's really weird.
It's the highest widow's peak. It's it's the Everest of widow's peaks.
It's bizarre, is what it is. It's really, strange. Anyway,
yeah.
But yes,
I can only presume that was actually based on the original, Mr. Profumo. I mean, maybe that's what his hair was like.
Well, they can have the hair they want, can't they? When they're at the top echelons of power.
They can indeed. Number 62 is Headless Cross by Black Sabbath.
Oh, this. Did you watch the video?
I did watch the video.
Did you see the bit where the lead singer appears out of the mist?
I did. And I chuckled to myself. I was already laughing because of the amount of leather on middle-aged men, which is never a good look.
So much leather tassels on things that shouldn't have leather tassels.
Yeah, leather waistcoat on the drummer.
I came to the conclusion that if he pulled his trousers down, he'd have tassels on his underpants, on his leather underpants. He's got tassels on everything. Just
he would have underpants. He just have another pair of leather trousers.
It's his skin, his leathery skin.
He hasn't got hair on his chest. He's got tassels.
This is Sabbath without
Ozzy.
Well, most of the Sabbathy stuff, really. So it's really weird. I don't like this version of Black Sabbath at all. I think it sounds like a naff rock band that they can do so much better than this. And the singer was just not a good look in all shapes and ways.
It really wasn't.
No, it was not.
It just appeared through the mist. Headless Cross. Shut up.
It's not the best moment like that we're going to experience, but it's certainly up there, that one.
16th of April. In at number 12 is Lullaby by The Cure.
Miserable shit that he is in that.
I know you don't like, but this is one of my favourite Cure tracks. I really like this. I really like the ambience, and I like it. For me, this is, we've got all that sort of all the spiky, silly stuff, but this is what I like when they do that kind of creepy, weird, low-key sort of things that they do, and they just don't do it. No one else really does it like The Cure, like they do this. They're just this is their uniqueness coming to what I like when I like what they do, which is not all the time. As we've spoken, I've said a lot of Cure songs are crap, but I do like this one.
Hardy crap.
It is, absolutely. Spider-Man is having me for dinner tonight.
It's not my cup of tea at all. But the video, he did just look miserable. I guess that's the point, though, isn't it?
He's scared. He's scared of the Robert Smiths at his window and in the corner.
If I wore lipstick that shade. Never wear lipstick that shade. It's way too bright for him. Tone it down a bit. Come on, tone it down.
True. You need 2 shades lower.
Yes.
Go for Red Mist. In at number 13, This Is Your Land by Simple Minds.
Ugh. the opening of the video looked like an advert for a man's deodorant. It just did. It even sounded like one.
Yeah, this is your smell. Smipplemans is what they could be called.
Yes, it probably is. It just had a feel of an advert. It felt like an advert more than a song. I don't know quite what that was all about.
Why is there a half-naked guy on a horse on the edge of a cliff?
Because there is. That's how it works.
That was his land.
It didn't sound like Simple Minds either. I don't know. There's something weird about that whole track. Something was off.
Not good. Number 18 is One by Metallica.
Bit of a classic, that one. Well, kind of a super classic for them, isn't it? Big Metallica mega hit that was.
Was this off Master of Puppets? What's this off?
Yes, Master of Puppets, I believe.
Yeah.
Or was it Justice for All?
Or was it on Justice for All? Which one have we just had?
It's on that one. Yeah. It's not my favourite though, one. I do like it, but it's a great track. It is, and it's a very good Metallica track. It's just not my favourite Metallica track, but that hold your breath as I breathe it. It's just you can't mistake how bleak a song that is. Very good. Just not my favourite Metallica one. I much prefer other tracks by them.
Good video as well. And bleak. Yes. So bleak. I've always wondered, and I've always meant to look it up, but then, it's one of those things, every time I see it and here I go, I'm going to look up what that's from. Ooh, ducks. And I always just instantly forget. So, is it from a film? I presume it is.
I don't know, because I also, like you, I'm listening to it going, wow, I should check that out. Squirrels!
Yeah.
And I'm like, what was I thinking about?
Oh, man, what am I having for tea today?
It's a cup of tea.
I do find that a bit with this song, though, because I think it just goes on so long. So I just get a bit
long.
Lost in the length of it, which it
was vogue, wasn't it, at this point as well, to have long intros to your metal videos and stuff. This is one of those, got a big long intro in it. They did a few of those.
Very long. What isn't long, though, is number 20, Ain't Nobody Better by Inner City.
Big house, sort of club house tracks. Well, this is more like garage house, really. Kind of almost proto, that kind of thing. The whole sound of this, Inner City did loads of tracks like this, and they're a great, great outfit for that. If you like your garage and your house, you'll know they are. Very popular. They were pioneered by DJs like Danny Ramplin, stuff like that, and a lot of his Radio 1, Glitter Ball mixes and some of the Love Groove Dance Party mixes that he did. Inner City featured pretty heavily in all of them. If you've listened to any of them ever, you'll have heard an Inner City track, and I have to say I do like that track quite a lot.
I'll take your word for it.
I like that kind of stuff. If I'm in the right mood for it. Not always, though.
Not always. Usually halfway through One by Metallica. Number 23, Who's in the House? Yeah. Beatmasters with Merlin.
Who's in the house?
Who's in the house? Who's
yeah,
I hated this.
Massive hip house tune.
Hate it. Just like, God, everything that is wrong.
I thought you might. Huge hit. I'm not a big fan of that hip house sound. Huge beats. Massive, crazy volume side chaining going on in there. So if you're into your side chaining...
What's side chaining? I don't...
That. So side chaining is when you basically chain the sound of... It's basically if you've got a heavy kick drum on a track of that kind, and you just clip out a little bit of the bass synthesizer sound or the bass sound while the kick drum cuts through the mix, it's called side chaining. So it just drops the sound out fractionally so the bass can pulse through. So their bass sounds really loud. Any modern dance music will all do it, or any synth wave that goes doo-ba-da-da, doo-ba-da-da, doo-ba-da-da kind of sound, where you've got the kick drum seems to come through really loudly, even though they've got synthesizers and the bass sounds come in, because it's side chaining it, and that's what that does quite heavily. So you can hear the kick sound.
Right.
I imagine it's probably quite difficult to do back then because you have to do it quite manually, but nowadays it's all, autopilot stuff.
All right. Well, now I know what that is. There you go. Also, at number 30, now I know that Do You Believe in Shame is a song by Duran Duran. And I didn't want to know that.
Do you believe that they believed in it?
No. The irony of this title is beyond belief. Do you believe it? Do you not have any? You're still releasing records. Stop it.
Awful video. I mean, you can see there's something going wrong with them. They all look pissed off. Yeah. One of them's clearly clinging onto the new romantic look desperately. The other one looks like he's ready to go out in a parka coat on a cold evening. It's like I'm sensing there was some kind of style-related incident happened, and so you can actually see the division in Duran Duran if you look at the video of that. You can see it. You got, was it Roger Taylor, I think, is it? Or one of the Taylors?
Taylor's, Nick, Andy.
Sat there in his sort of super smart 80s suit, makeup and everything else, heavy face makeup to chisel jaw and everything. And you cut to Simon Le Bon, who's obviously like, hey, I am Simon. bit wider of face, no makeup, parka coat, puffer jacket, looking a bit like, just stepped out of the dustbin from outside after having a kebab. Not that fussed about what's going on.
Lineker.
Your best mate, Gary Lineker. Yeah, he's just coming and going, all right, lads, are we singing a song and then that? He doesn't sound anything like that,
Do you believe in shame, Simon?
Have you no shame? Give me another kebab and I'll tell you. He doesn't sound anything like that, and he would never have said that. I'm just saying that. I'm paraphrasing.
But it's a bland blancmange of a song.
It's absolutely. So that's a very good description of that. And also, because blancmange were a big no romantic act,
exactly.
I think it's also quite cutting as well. Clever, very clever.
It works on many levels.
So many levels, yeah.
At least 2. At number 41 is Never by the House of Love.
Oh, no, it's not for me, that. It was awful.
It's okay. I didn't hate this. It's okay. It's very of that time indie, though. It really reminded me of something else. I couldn't put my finger on what it was reminding me of. It's just indie of that period. As soon as you hear this, you'll go, yeah, if you like indie from that period, it's part of that.
Yeah.
The big track was Shine On, but...
Of course it was, yeah. I was trying to think where I'd heard them. Yeah, makes sense now.
She, shine on. That's House of Love's big track. Number 44 is Wise Up Sucker by Pop Will Eat Itself.
Yes.
I quite like Pop Will Eat Itself. Not one of my favourites, but catchy refrain is the main sort of hook that he sings is all right. And I like his vocal delivery throughout this, but I get what you're saying, right? It feels a bit messy and it's a bit all over the place. And I understand. I do what you say, but I can dig this. It's all right. Kids dig it. I dig it. It's all right.
Yeah, I mean, I like Pop Will Eat Itself. I like them when they got better. There's actually, if there's ever a band to look at who over the time of their evolution, they just get better and better and better and better. So they're sort of really and not necessarily because of the popularity of them either. They get better at doing stuff.
What they're doing, yeah.
And what you can sort of get a sense of the journey they're on as well, because each track sort of adds a little bit more to the kind of sound that they later become. Quite fascinating. This is a messy track for that, but you can sort of see the next one that comes out will have the best bits of this one and none of the worst bits of the others. And you can see that kind of sort of iterative process they're going through to get to where they end up. So quite interesting. I don't particularly like it. It does feel messy, but like you say, it's got the catchy refrain parts and some of those other parts of the things that they pick up in the next track.
She loves me. Yeah, she loves me, which is like, okay.
That's what I mean. They just pick up on little things, and each time they do something, they get a little bit better. So it's quite interesting, that.
Number 48 is Make My Body Rock by Joe Manda.
There's a lot of ooh in the beginning of this. Ooh. A lot of ooh.
A lot of ooh. One for me, this, though.
No, I didn't think this would be up your alleyway. Good bass line on that, though. And that did sound like to me, it sounded like an Oberheim doing the bass there, which is a very nice keyboard. I wish I had an Oberheim or a Moog, as some people say. But that's what it sounded like, a bit like. Or could it be an SH-101? It might be, Adrian. It might be. If it is, though, that's very popular at the time, the Roland SH-101.
Why am I getting images of airplane going to my head? It all started back in 1941.
Hey, don't mock the SH-101. One of the greatest bassline producing devices of all time.
I'm not going to argue with you. 23rd of April. In at number 9 is Interesting Drug by Morrissey.
Well, was it? Because I didn't think it was at all. I thought it was
I listened to it. I got to when his vocals came in and I turned it off.
Yeah.
I just don't like him.
No, just rambling along, not my thing.
Oh, this one, God. Number 26, Your Mama Don't Dance by Poison.
Oh.
Horrible sort of doo-bop, nasty horror,
awful.
Sort of early sort of Chuck Berry-ish, that side type of.
Yep.
Oh, dreadful.
Terrible. And the video, the live official music video, just every cliche you can think of in the first 30 seconds, your brain will explode with them. So go watch it. If you hate Poison, go and watch that, because that'll just affirm your hatred. Good and proper. It will seal the deal.
Yeah, they're terrible. Yeah.
Yes.
Number 27, Where Has All the Love Gone? Yaz. Probably to the same place that your hits have gone to.
Yeah, is she wearing a wig? No,
I don't know. She must have grown her hair quite quickly.
Yeah, and then have your hair in a style, but don't. I've seen Violida Supermops look a bit more stylish than that, and I don't mean to. I don't speak ill of her and everything, but that wasn't a great look. No,
they tried to mitigate the shoulder bop as well by sticking her in a TV.
Yeah, so you couldn't see it, could you?
The shoulder bop was still quite strong.
Oh yeah, she's gonna do the old shoulder shuffle. You can see it because her neck muscles are so powerful because of that. She's a good singer, but it's wasted in that song. And the plink plonk piano in it's a terrible piano sample. Even I didn't like that one. God, no.
Number 30 is "I'll Be There For You" by Bon Jovi.
These 5 words I'll swear to you. Yes, good. That's a good Bon Jovi track. That is. They do ballads, and when they do them good.
Yeah, and that is a good one. Yeah, I like that one. Better than this anyway. Number 33 is "Electric Youth" by Debbie Gibson.
This was terrible. This was so bad. I mean, she's out of tune at the beginning, for goodness sake. And then the dancing began, and then the nightmares. It's just stuff for nightmares.
And the sea green.
Fish and plankton, sea greens and protein from the sea. And then it stopped coming, and they came instead.
And the plankton.
And they started dancing, and then they stopped dancing. Sea greens and plankton.
Dreadful. This was awful, this song. I got about 20, 30 seconds into it, just a voice and just dancing, and I was like, no.
It felt like a Eurovision entry from one of the lesser countries that never wins, like UK.
Yeah, true. Actually, that's not a bad call. Yeah. I thought that the thing with this is that what this proves is that a year ago, 2 years back, the UK was kind of open to this sort of thing. We're like, oh, yeah, this is a bit new, and some young girls, and they're doing this kind of thing. By now, it's like we're moving into dance.
Yeah.
Proper dance and house and all that sort of stuff is much more sort of, people are going to clubs and it's more adult and all that kind of stuff. This just doesn't work anymore. No. And then, and even like, and you can see it sort of thing. You get Debbie Gibson and Tiffany who try and do the same thing. And then if you look at the other person who was doing that kind of thing 4 or 5 years ago is Madonna. And look where she's gone. She's got, erotica and stuff on the horizon and Vogue and all that kind of stuff. And even, she's, anger in the Vatican.
Yes.
Good artists know when to change. Yeah. And where the market is. And this is a real example of like, no, the UK has moved on.
Yeah, it's totally and utterly controlled by the producer, that poor
I'm sure it sold quite well in certain parts of America, but over here I think we should probably...
No,
not for us anymore.
We'd had enough by now.
Yeah. Number 42 is Bring Me Edelweiss by Edelweiss. Speaking of the UK had moved on. That argument falls apart.
We're not technically responsible for this. This isn't the UK Act didn't create this. This was created by some Euro dance nonsense.
Yeah,
but they followed. The KLF released a book, didn't they? Which was, I think, I'm not sure if it was called the manual or it was called how to have a number one hit record in the UK. They basically did that with a couple of times, but then the book was principally based around Doctor in the TARDIS, which was a huge hit for them, and it was just basically a few samples thrown together, massive hit for them, and it paved the way for things like What Time Is Love and Last Train to Town Central and the KLF and the Jams and all that stuff. So they released this book. It became a bit of an underground thing. I think it's actually been disappeared and deleted, but thanks to the internet, you can find it online. So if you want to read how to do it, it literally is a blow-by-blow how to do it. It's not like it's a step-by-step guide of how to do it, what to record, how to do it, who to send it to, how to do all of that stuff. It's a guide. They followed that guide, and that's where this track came from.
Oh, wow.
So they basically sampled SOS, isn't it, off ABBA, essentially, where they got absolutely sued to the eyeballs by ABBA for using, because Bring Me SOS, isn't it? But it's Bring Me Edelweiss.
Oh, yeah. So. It's almost, it reminds me of that, the classic book as well that came out when I think might have been just after or just around something, that the Gorilla's Handbook for Filmmaking or whatever.
Yeah.
That kind of like, just go film. Don't ask for permission. Just film.
It basically says in the first thing what you'll need to do a hit record. Go to your library, get all your now 40 records, get a record player, go and raid your dad's singles, sort of record singles over the last 30, 40 years, and you're just bolting those together. And nowadays, of course, these tracks are kind of done all over the place and released on SoundCloud, and it's all kind of, it's all back then.
Yeah,
you could end up with a hit, and they did repeatedly. And Bring Me Edelweiss is a particularly. I remember watching that with Gary in his bedroom because it has a yodeling midget in it. That wasn't Gary, by the way. That was in the music video. And then there's obviously very well endowed ladies of yodeling origin, shall we say, just Austrian sort of outfits. But I remember the Eurovision where there was
the Polish milkers.
Yeah.
I remember.
The Polish milkers made an appearance in Bring Me Edelweiss as well. So I remember watching that with Gary going, bloody hell, look at that. And Gary, of course, going, he actually preferred the yodelers and then and all that. But that's just Gary. He's a yodeler. He's born a yodeler, he'll die a yodeler.
He will. You're going to bury him on the side of a mountain. At number 71 is The Rain Dance by Dare.
I bet you loved this, didn't you?
Not really. It was okay.
I bet you, because you liked the last Dare track.
I did, but this one is good. I can see how you give me a You're the Voice vibe. Yeah, it did me as well. Yeah, totally. What have you said about the singer?
Look, it's Rambo, but it's a skinny Rambo, so he's Scambo.
Yeah. I just noted there's so many armless T-shirts, and then the one guy's like you call that an armless T-shirt? It's just ripped all the way. It's just a vest at that point. But I did think that I suppose that just saves some material for the merch. they can produce twice as much.
Yeah.
For the same cost as what a normal band will do a T-shirt for.
Top business thinking like that is what got them to number 71 in the charts.
You can't argue with it.
What the money will save. Yeah, that's right.
We can sell 2 T-shirts for every one of Metallica's. Yeah, but they're going to sell 1,000 million more than us. Oh. At least we're not dressed in leather.
Imagine he threatens the record execs, old Scambo, would be in there going, I'll give you a record you would believe.
And they go, only if you dare. He's like, oh, foiled by my own name.
Damn it, Pete. Why did he call us Dare?
He walks out, stamps his foot.
They've done it again.
Damn it, he's so clever, that producer. And then at number 81 is Do You Like It by Kingdom Come. No, I didn't like it.
There's a lot of hair in that. I mean, apart from the giant speaker cone, which appears, it's just weird that that's there. It's like, because it starts off, it looks like a UFO, and then it's just a giant speaker cone. I'm like,
yeah.
Why?
Don't know.
Why is it that? And then,
don't know.
Then all the hair is unleashed, and there's so much of it. And then shit Geddy Lee starts up. I'm like, why is he? Why is Sheddy Lee there? And then it's just everyone's obfuscated by light bulbs, by giant close-up of light bulbs. I'm like, stop with the light bulbs. Why are you even there? What is this rubbish?
Don't know. It's not very good. That's what it is.
Rubbish.
Or is. Anyway.
Sheddy Lee, go home.
Sheddy Lee, yeah. You and Scambo.
I said it's a duet for them.
Lee and Scambo.
That'd be cool.
Anyway, 30th of April. In at number 2 is Hand on Your Heart by Kylie Minogue.
Get your hand on your heart and tell me.
Yeah.
Derivative
so this kicked
shite.
Simply Bread out at number 2 as well at this point.
Well, that's good. Okay, fair enough for that.
In at number 23 is I'm Every Woman, 1989.
Yeah, re-released, I think. Yeah.
I check a can. Yeah. I think it's a re-release. Yeah.
Huge
Number 37,
hit,
Rooms on Fire by Stevie Nicks.
I can't decide with Stevie Nicks, right? Because I listened to this. Now, I don't generally listen to a lot of Stevie Nicks or, and I'm not a big fan of Fleetwood Mac, as we know.
You're not?
But I thought, no. But I was listening to this thinking, all right, and I sort of listened through it. I just can't make my mind up if I like her voice or not. I don't know, because she looks absolutely sky high in that video, like she's completely not even in the same space or room as what was going on. Mm-hmm. And the song is a bit of a classic, isn't it? In there, it's a good song, really good song. I don't know. I don't know if I like her voice or not. I can't. It's kind of nasally, but it's kind of in tune. I don't know.
I love a voice, but for me, it needs to be surrounded by Fleetwood Mac because I've never particularly liked any of the solo stuff. I just found it just didn't work. I don't know. There's something about Fleetwood Mac and that period of Fleetwood Mac, those 3 albums.
Is it Edge of 17 is the big Stevie Nicks track, isn't it? The digga 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 and the one we love and the songs that keep on singing. Who that one?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it Edge of 17? I think. That's the one I remember her for mainly because
actually, yes. Yeah, no, I do think about that as one. But overall, that's just one track, and most of the stuff. It's like a lot of Buckingham stuff I'm not a big fan of, and Lindsey Buckingham and stuff like that. I just them as a 5-piece, astonishing. But
strangely, Stevie Nicks, she gets sampled a lot by different sort of rap and
that's because she's got
soul and R&B producers. Well, she gets sampled on some of her guitar stuff. If you think of Bootylicious by, I think it's Destiny's Child, is it? Or Bootylicious, and the guitar lick on that, the digga 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 at the beginning, that's for Edge of 17. That's the same sample. Obviously the lyrics are different. I don't think you can handle this. Woo! It's very different to Stevie Nicks. I don't imagine she appreciated that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can sample anything and make it decent. But
yes.
Yeah, I don't mind that track by Stevie Nicks, but
it's good.
Not a big fan of much of it. Never a fan of her other style stuff. She just never really did it for me.
That's fair.
Unfortunately.
That's fair.
What did do it for me, though, is in at number 39, which is Don't It Make You Feel Good by Stephen Dennis.
Brown Sauce loves this. He still does.
I can see why.
He loves it.
Because it's actually not a bad track. It's okay. It's not terrible. One? I don't know. I think I actually prefer the original Aussie version, Australian version. It's a bit more purer. It's not as overproduced as the UK version. Yeah. But you are right. He does sing like he's trying out for a part in the Phantom of the Opera.
Very operatic.
He really does.
Very musical.
And I think that's why I like it, because I think the thing with this is that you could have gone down the route of just thinking this was going to be another Saw track, another Donovan. Really not. It's something else. And it's very different and very odd. And I think I kind of like the different, it's kind of like, I wasn't expecting that. So
yeah, you certainly won't be expecting Stephen Dennis to do that. And it gets higher than that in the chart, I think, as well. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember Brown Sauce raving about it. He still does. He's still going on about it. Like, shut up. He even dressed like Stefan Dennis for a while, didn't he? Well, that like black leather coat, slicked his hair back. He thought he was dead charming with all the ladies. He really wasn't. It was a nightmare. The nightmare. The amount of times he got escorted out of the pub shouting, "I'm Stefan Dennis. Don't it make you feel good?" at people. It was embarrassing.
Changed his name to Stephen Derrick.
Yeah, because he couldn't change it legitimately to Stefan Dennis because it's already taken.
Yeah, that was copyrighted. Yeah,
would he hear that?
Patented,
would he hear it?
Yeah, no one's going to know who you are if you call yourself Stephen Derrick.
The amount of times you said that to him, I said that to him, and for that awkward 7 or 8 months, it was bloody Stephen. It was a nightmare.
It wasn't
bloody nightmare.
Good. It was.
No, it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
So much gelled hair.
Oh, the gel.
Not even on his head.
The pubic gel will. When he sat down, that crunch sound was something that'll haunt me for the rest of my days. That, and when he stood up, there was just that dust cloud that came from the bottom of his jeans. You're like, what happened? I hope that's gel.
Cut. Anyway, in at number 42 is Violently EP by Hue and Cry.
I don't know. Don't listen to that song too long. It'll make you weep instantly, but not necessarily from your eyes.
I don't know where. It wasn't very good. It's really boring.
Yeah,
I was just
very
like,
dull.
One thing you can't say about this next song is it's not boring. Number 57, Let There Be Rock by Onslaught.
Oh, this bloody thing.
Just when you thought, what's the face? Kingdom Come at it, button down for the hair of the week award.
Where did these even come from?
Onslaught.
It just appeared.
Shower of hair.
So much. The distorted guitar sounds so horrible and muddy.
It was horrible.
It's awful. Do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when we played that Battle of the Bands and that guy changed the amp settings for the other band so that when they played it sounded like that. That's how it sounded. It was awful.
It was
cover of an AC/DC track, isn't it? And not a good one.
I don't know. It was just dreadful. His voice was awful and his face was worse.
That's not the review we wanted, I'm telling you.
Well, it's not.
Save your screams until you see his face.
Gary's Tinder profile.
It is. It actually is.
Oh, poor Gary. Number 78, sorry. Finally, it's fine. Just to round this off.
I can't swipe right. It won't go.
I've taken over the app. You can't swipe. Can't swipe me away.
You can't swipe me away.
I'm the Phantom of the Opera. I'm Stephen Derrick.
You got gel.
Funnily. At number 78, I Won't Back Down by Tom Petty.
Yeah. Now, I don't know. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, I kind of like them and I don't. They're inoffensive at best, and they're kind of middle of the road at worst, aren't they? I don't know. They just sit in the kind of a cusp of, okay, if it came on, you're like, oh, it's that one. It's got that kind of quality to it. I thought it was a Travelling Wilburys song because it sounds exactly like one.
Shocker.
Yeah, surprise.
Surprise. I mean, I recognise this sort of thing. And I mean, the thing with Tom Petty was that when I first saw him sort of thing, and I thought he reminded me of the skeleton from the Memorex adverts. Re-record, not fade away.
It's kind of scary. Yeah, absolutely.
He's so bony. It's like there's nothing. It's just, I don't know. I was like, I remember when I first
Iggy
saw
Pop
him
was like that as well.
I think I ran to my mum crying. I was 17 at the time. But
he does look a little bit resurrected, doesn't he?
He's very skinny. But I do like this song. This is like I said, it's the one everyone knows by Tom Petty, even if you don't like Tom Petty.
And don't rule Tom Petty out because he's a damn good musician. And he's he is a really good songwriter. So there's some good
I'm
stuff
sure,
from Tom Petty.
Absolutely. He's not going to be the Travelling Wilburys if he's they're not like they're going to employ someone as a hanger on, are they? So
absolutely,
it's fine. It's fine.
No, and the good thing is that if ever he snaps a guitar string, he just plucks a hair from his head, and he can use that on his guitar.
He also looked like the vicar priest from Poltergeist 2.
Oh, he does.
You know the guy I'm on about?
Yeah, there is a look of that. Yeah, he does. Maybe that is him.
Told you. It could very well be. Who knew?
It gets about.
Anyway.
Gets about that Petty. Gets about.
Yeah, Petty thief. I'm sure he won't. That's Tom Petty. He won't back down. He won't, He won't. Don't get him started in an argument.
He can't.
He will not back down.
He's got no reverse.
He's got no sounds on the back. Beep. You can't back down. Anyway, there you go. That's your music. And for these games have done something to my brain. For April singles for April 1989, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We've still got 3 more games to get through, and I do mean get through. So please do stick around. And we're back. And before you say anything and you're shouting at the headphones or whatever, it's not Memorex, it was Scotch.
Scotch, yes.
It was Scotch.
We just realised.
The skeleton. Yeah, because we were singing the song to each other during the break. And we realised through the power of the lyrics that it was Scotch. Scotch's lifetime guarantee. Anyway, Tom Petty. We've still got 3 more games to get through. Graham, the first one is all yours. Please. So tell us all about Supertrux.
Supertrux. Wow. Published by Elite. That great publishing
powerhouse
extraordinaire. 999 pence, so not great value, and it came in at 57% in Zap. 57? Kind of numbers that?
It's wrong, I'll tell you that.
Kidding. This was developed by Gargoyle Games Limited. Those are the people that did. Now, not that you'd know this from the credits in the game because they hid all that, but I dug in and found out. Those are the people that made Turn and Nog, Ad Astra, and Swevo's World back in the days. It was those. The musician here was Jason C. Brooke. Okay. The scenario then, races have covered Europe by push bike, car, plane, even hot air balloon. Now it is the turn of the truck. 9 European cities have come together to award. Now is the time.
That's a British Rails advert.
This is the age of the truck. 9 European cities have come together to award the Supertrux Trophy, the most prestigious and coveted trucking trophy ever devised. Now, just before we say that, it's the only trucking trophy, isn't it? So I think, is it fair to say that it's the most prestigious, but you can?
Yeah.
London, Paris, Brussels, I think that is. Rome, Madrid, Venice, Pisa, Athens. Their names call the roll of the great and ancient cities of the old world. But as for the roads that connect them, ... Again, they've gone to gibberishwriters.com for this. Have you got the ability? Have you got the raw nerve? Have you got the guts to race 30 tons of solid truck across Europe through hazardous conditions and along tortuous, twisting roads, beating all the other drivers to claim the Supertrux Trophy? Only the most skillful and daring of drivers will be able to survive the perilous journey from city to city. The road signs will help you, I should hope, but choose your path carefully. There are many routes to take, and while some may be shortcuts, others will lead to sections of road treacherous in the extreme, with viciously sharp bends, narrow single-lane carriageways, and even major roadworks, otherwise known as the M1. Precise steering, lightning reactions, and a clear head will be needed to get through in one piece. And beware the other drivers. They will not think twice about ramming you with their 30-tonners in a murderous attempt to send you skidding off the road. Okay, this is a death race we're talking about here, and that sounds like it is not the kind of thing you give trophies for. Okay, that requires, rewarding bodies and things. Competition will be fierce, and each leg must be completed in record time. So don't hang around. Put your foot flat down and give a blast on your air horn to let them know you're on the road and you mean business. Play as dirty as they do, and maybe, just maybe, you will win the Supertrux Trophy. That is the blurb for the game. How about that? That wasn't enough. You could send in if you clip off the corner and send it to Elite Systems Limited in Eastern Avenue, Lichfield, they will send you back a free Yorkie bar, which is a chocolate bar in the UK made from milk chocolate and which you can still buy.
Free?
So
a free
Yorkie, worth back then probably about 30 pence. Nowadays, £1.10. Wow, times have changed, haven't they?
How much is a stamp?
The price it was. Nowadays, about £1.10. Back then it was about 20 odd p, wasn't it?
So just buy a Yorkie.
Just go and buy a Yorkie. Yeah, don't fall for it. Don't fall for it.
You have to wait for it to come through the post. It's got to be crushed. It's got to be partly melted.
Now, there may be people out there wondering, just momentarily, why on earth would chocolate bars anything to do with trucks? Well, that's because for some reason that I'm not 100% sure of, and I tried to find out, Yorkie had aligned themselves, the Yorkie was the name of the chocolate bar brand. It was basically a milk chocolate bar, a bit like a Cadbury's Dairy Milk, but it was made by...
It's Nestle, isn't it?
Could be Nestle. But they aligned themselves with truck drivers for some reason, the Yorkie bar. The Yorkie bar was something to do with trucking and truck drivers. I like trucking and I like to truck.
It kept them going. It was chunky chocolate for chunky men. And what it was also like quite sexist because it was like not for women.
Yeah, well, later on it was just not for girls, wasn't it? They had an advertising campaign, which they did not do well from. And in fact, you can barely find Yorkie bars outside of motorway cafe bars and things nowadays. Not so easy to find them. If you can hide them, maybe you can find the Yorkie bars. This is all this pointless hyperbole He's all eliding the fact that, what have we got? It's Outrun with trucks. That's all this is. It's Outrun with trucks. And that's got to be interesting, right? Because that's what you asked for, wasn't it? You said, why can't I race a truck like I can every other vehicle? Why has that not been done? Well, now it has been.
Saying that.
The Sinclair Spectrum-looking loading screen didn't kick things off too well with me. It had horrible 8-bit crappy digital scanning written all over it. And the dithering. Oh, the painful dithering. I don't like to see a badly dithered picture, but that was dithering on a whole new level. Awful. It made me feel sad for the ditherers of the world.
Is it called, hang on, is the game called Elite Supertrux or just Supertrux?
Supertrux, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, because the title, the loading screen says Elite Supertrux.
I think that's just, it's just Supertrux according. I've got the instructions in front of me here.
It is just Supertrux, yeah. But
so the game begins, sprite flags waving around the sides everywhere. In the middle, a spectrum-coloured map of Europe, I think, with a start and finish in there, kind of buried. One of those landmark maps, like a tourist-type map that you see, but badly realised in crapo vision. But it's a map, I suppose. There's 3 options at this point. F1 is quit the game, which you haven't even started yet. Strange that it's telling you how to quit before you've even started. Seems odd. F3 pause, and which you haven't done yet, and fire to go. It just says fire to go. Right. So start your truck would have been, I don't know.
Go.
Once you press fire, the game starts. Oh dear. At the top are 3 weird Groucho Marx faces, which are meant to be the starting lights. But they look like Groucho Marx's glasses and mouth going, ooh. So that's at the top right. Then the timers for the rally stage, the country you are in, and there's some weird distance indication. Don't really know what that means. And some kind of speed indication in kilometers per hour for reasons. Below that, there's more flags adorning the starting line gantry graphic. In the distance are some badly realised trees and what looks like an ancient castle. The now obligatory dark grey, light grey raster bar road zooms off into the middle distance with each side of it in bright green, sort of beset each side with bright green sort of greenery. No roadside markers this time though. Your Supertruck is at the bottom next to some badly drawn deflated tyres. Nothing sets off the pace of a game like depressed, deflated tyres on a racing game.
It's just like Outrun with all the crowds and the shouting and the screaming. Nothing says Outrun like flat tyres.
Yeah, just 2 flat tyres there, just doing nothing. Just like that's how the game begins. It begins with deflation and it gets worse from there. So setting your heights and your standards quite high. It kind of animates, I guess.
It's like it's dancing
to imply engine activity.
It's bobbing from side to side.
It's bobs from side to side. This smoke, an indication of smoke coming from its stack. It's what they call the exhaust, and a low frequency buzz for some kind of engine sound. Pushing up, we'll see you head down the Rastbar Highway. Awful looking trees will zoom along the left and right, and some truck-ish objects will hoy into view while you steer around them with the joystick. One of the Marx Brothers icons will now periodically change to indicate some extra info. Bends coming up or roadworks. That's it. Yep. When this happens, you will see the track bend in a way that you've become accustomed to, which you'll never actually like. And of course, road cones appear because there's roadwork. So road cones, even though you're in a truck, the road cones will slow or stop you. Not something that I've ever known road cones truly be able to do on a 30-ton truck. Okay. As we're colliding with another truck on the road. Since you're against the clock, as each stage has a set time to complete, like Outrun does, I guess, you need to do your best to avoid these things, which is next to impossible given how the truck handles at any given moment. Mm-hmm. On straights, it's passable. On bends, there is no way to control things. Even slowing down doesn't help. You are not going to be able to play this game and do it very well. And that's how it rolls. Though there are a lot of checkpoints and you visit different countries, the gameplay is essentially the same in every single aspect, only with different coloured raster bar roads, different coloured skies, moderately different backgrounds, and occasionally a different horizon detail, a different kind of castle, or a Ferris wheel now and again. So that's that. It's almost like you're driving at certain points towards Chernobyl, which nobody wants. Nobody wants. Especially in the 80s. The graphics here are unexciting rehashes of racing vehicles. So that this game features trucks is neither here nor there. The idea that trucks are topped by road cones is laughable and annoying, as this game mechanic is used all the time. So if you're not avoiding trucks, you're avoiding road cones. And that's kind of most of the levels. Plus, the other racing trucks just aim towards you all the time, which they always do in these kind of crapo races. So they're not challenged, they just get in the way. And they're just, as soon as you get you're aiming towards them, you're going to try and overtake, they will just suddenly dive towards you instantly. It's just rubbish to do that. It's a naff way of making a game like this. Doesn't make it difficult. It just makes it annoying. Jaunty, lively music aside, while the game is complete, I guess, and it works, with at least no raster bar bugs I saw, or coding like we just saw in that Wet Le Mans where there was bad lines all over the place. It remains a dull and lifeless addition to the racing game genre on the C64. It occurs to me that of all the vehicles that could be customized for a game like this, a truck would be the one you could really create your own with. So had this had more of that, where you could customize your rig, put on your own graphics and details, all the different types of truck you could be, wouldn't matter so much if it looked like that in the game, as long as you had that bit. You could just throw in your own customizations. There's a whole wing of this game that you could have done. That would have made this feel a bit more like a truck racing game where you modified the truck. Maybe if you had to carry a load, because you're just racing the truck cab. You're not racing an actual truck with carrying a load. That would be stupid and impossible, I suppose. But that's not what this game is. And there are arcade games later that do that. Mm-hmm. So had this had more of that, you can customize things, throw in some funny CB style dialogue that you get in from a couple of the films that came out in the mid to late 80s about truck drivers and trucking. So breaker and that kind of thing. You don't have to be samples, but you could just have a little CB radio where other trucks warned you of things. And that would have made this. Have a bit more of that in a game like this. A bit more, you've got to get from A to B on the regular roads. And it's not that you're racing against other trucks, but perhaps you're racing against the time. And it's a bit like a cannonball run, but for trucks. No, or make it a game like that. I mean, there's plenty of stuff like that. There's a whole bunch of 80s films around that idea, right down to Convoy and things like that. I suppose that's late 70s, but Convoy or any of the Smokey and the Bandit movies where you've got a large concentration of truckers. There's a whole thing you can do about truckers in racing things. You could make it more about that. You don't have to just make it Outrun with trucks, because that's boring. And Outrun's already done it with cars, and it wasn't very good for that. And this was 10 quid as well. No. This is not Supertrux at all. It's just naff. And I don't think it's going to get anyone going all giddy for trucks, that's for sure. But you might love trucks, so what do I know? What do you think?
How big are those cones?
Yeah, well, if they're going to stop a 30-ton truck, they've got to be pretty big, aren't they?
They must be massive. I'm driving a truck cab. I mean, massive and really strong.
Yep.
So if I drove over them, they'd just be crushed into plastic mush.
Yes.
They'd just be plastic mush on the ground. They'd flatten. I'm driving a truck. Also, why does my cab bob from side to side? It sits waiting at the start line or drives in a straight line. It's like I don't get it. It's like it's like it's listening to music that I can't hear.
Maybe it was.
It's like do 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 do. It's like some kids thing. How is this full price?
Yep.
I mean, I could grant this some leeway if this was on the Racket label for £2. Not Racket. What was Encore? Isn't it? Encore was a
and it does come out on their budget label later.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter because at that point it's been a full price release. But for £10, this is pretty bad. Like you said, it's not as bad as Vet Clemens, and A Bout of Dysentery isn't as bad as Vet Clemens. That's not saying much. Why can't they get these games right? It's been 5 years since Pit Stop 2.
Yep.
5. Why are they still getting these things so wrong and charging a tenner for it? Shameless. Elite have charged £20 this week for Wanderer and Supertrux. Imagine you spent £20 and you came home with those two.
Don't want to.
Oh, no, there's so much. It's just boring. And it's got that thing in it, like you said, they just aim for you. When the cones are on one side and you've got a truck on the other, which always happens, and you're going around a corner, the nature of the controls means you can't really get round without hitting something.
No, you can't.
Then you slow down. And then it also does that thing as well when you're driving straight, and the bend just finishes, so you just wang over to the side, or the corner comes out of nowhere, so you just smack into a tree. It's just dreadful. These racing games are rubbish. Pit Stop 2 did it properly 5 years ago. Learn. Go and look at it and go, how did they do it? They did that.
Follow that example. Yeah, you're right.
Supertrux. There's nothing super about this. And they spelled it with an X.
I know. Why? Because it's meant to be like Grand Prix, I'm guessing, like a thing on it, but no, it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Yeah, this is dreadful rubbish. Hated it. More crap-hole racing shit.
Yep.
There we go. Supertrux. Let's move along quickly into our next one. And our next one, well, this is War in Middle-earth. There's war, Graham.
Epic music coming on.
And it's in Middle-earth. There's £10.
They're always bloody war in the Middle-earth.
Well, during the first age, it was a bit. Second age,
it's an unhappy place. War. There is. They're always bloody arguing the toss with each other.
So if you don't know, War in Middle-earth, it's a Lord of the Rings. And the Lord of the Rings has had quite a lot of games based on it, should we say? A lot. Yeah. And indeed, this is not even Melbourne House's first crack at the story either, as they did both The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings text adventures back in 1985. Games we never covered, obviously, because we don't do adventures, but they did those. But this is an entirely different kind of game and tells the story of the War of the One Ring or something. I don't remember the War of the One Ring, and I've read Lord of the Rings loads of times and watched the films.
Happened before that, does it? The War of the One Ring? Way before.
Well, it's just, don't really, there's a bits of fighting, but it's not a war. So yes, this was released by Melbourne House, but it was actually designed by Mike Singleton.
Ooh.
You can see the Mike Singleton fingers on
Stamp.
this. Coded by Mike Lyons with graphics by Andrew Elkerton, and musician was Paul Robotham. The version I'm looking at here is the tape version. I did try the disc version. I didn't include it, so you probably didn't, but I did have a look at it. The only difference I could make out was the ability to change keys at the beginning, and there's an option to view the portraits of people. But to do that, you had to swap discs, which seemed like a right pain in the ass when the main game is just a single all-one load.
Annoying.
So, yeah, what's the point? It's like another option that's pointless. Anyway, when the game loads, you can pick a difficulty level. On the version I had, that said from 0 to F, or 1 to 16 for those not conversant with hexadecimal. It's the same on the disc version. It's just a bit more, it's nicely presented in this version. So essentially, I think that's your difficulty level. So 1 easy, 16 hard, I guess, or F is hard, whatever. And then you're into the game, and there's a decent approximation of the front cover of the game with a Nazgul sat atop his horse. So, okay, there's a loading screens go. It's pretty good. It's not terrible. It's not great. It's all right. So I think the thing with this game is that there's a lot of instructions for a very little game.
Yes, that's what I thought.
There's, having played through it and looked at all the instructions and read through it all and all the characters and everything like that, blah, blah, it's like, yeah, that's great. This sounds really in depth. I don't think it is. So, because when the game starts, you're straight in. You got a map of Middle Earth, and it's all your favorite places right there, like the Brown Lands and the Iron Hills. Everyone remembers them. The Brown Lands. There's just loads of C-64s. This takes up the right side of the screen. So that's it. It's just a map of Middle Earth, as you see it. And on the left, you've got a pointless compass. Just a compass, because they needed to fill a bit of space, probably. There's an option for file where you can save, load, or basic, which I clicked.
Weird.
And it means quit to desktop. So don't try it.
Why is that even there?
I don't know. Why is it called basic? I don't know. What does that mean? Just don't click it. Well, you can click it if you want to quit, but it is what it is. Under that, you have a memo option. Doesn't seem to do a lot. Just every time I clicked on memo, it went, nothing happened repeatedly. Nothing's happening.
Useful.
Even though there's loads of fights and the War of the Ring is ongoing, it's just this memo going, nothing's happening. It's literally like the bit from Naked Gun. Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see.
Sauron waging war on Middle Earth. Nothing happening. Nothing to see here. And there's also a time function, and that makes time happen. That's what it does. Time happens. You control all these with a gloved cursor, which you can move around with a joystick, and you can click on them. But more importantly, you can also click anywhere on the map. And what that does, it takes you to the second screen the game has. The game only has 3 screens. This is what I mean. So the second screen the game has, which is a zoomed-in version of the section you just clicked on. Here you can see terrain details, and you can scroll the screen around and move your pointer over towns and see what they are called and all kinds of things like that. So essentially what we've got is strategy. This is a strategy game. So we've got strategy game view. So there's little trees for forests, little groups, trees, little sort of brown hills for mountains and stuff, towns and castles as well represented, like shields and stuff for your men and your troops and all that kind of stuff. So you can click on any of them and find out. You can see terrain details, you can scroll the screen and all that. What you'll also see, like I said, you'll see these shields dotted around, and these are the many divisions that are at your command and the various characters that exist within the story. So if you click on them, this allows you to see how many men you have. So they're all in separate divisions. So you might have like 10 divisions at one place. So you can just scroll through them all. Yeah, there is the West Lothian division, there is the Right Lothian division, there's Celeborn, there's Celeborn, there's Theoden, and there's all this. And they've all got some stats and stuff like that. And there's different stories. So you can, about who's in command, they've got their determination and so on. If you've played Lords of Midnight or Doomdark's Revenge, some of this might sound familiar about how you can sort of, Doomdark, or whatever his name was, is very determined and all that kind of crap. There's lots of that in this. I don't know if it means anything, but anyway. Clicking them again gives you a set of options. It allows you to move them on their own or with anyone else. So you click on them and it gives you some options, which is you want to move them. So you move them about, you set their destination. Then it says, do you want to move them on their own or do you want to move everybody at this location? So you shift everyone and send them off somewhere. And then you set the destination and then go. And whilst time is not running, so time is never running when you're on this screen, you can do this for as many of the units in your command. So you can go scroll around all the landscape. You can't really see where your units are on the main map screen. You have to kind of find them in the lower map screen. So you are scrolling around a lot of terrain, just trying to find people and move them about, get them basically to Mordor. There's the one ring. You can change the ring stuff. It doesn't really mean a lot. Some people, I've read reviews of people going, oh, it's amazing. It's the best Lord of the Rings game ever. I'm like, it's really not. It's really not. So once you're happy, you've set everyone's destination off and you've teamed up everything, you set time off, you let them do their thing. You just sit and watch the map screen and tiny, tiny dots seem to move about over time. And weirdly, time is in Roman numerals for reasons I couldn't figure. So it goes 1, 2, 3 I's, IV, V, V1, VII, VII, IX. Like, why have you done it like this? I don't understand. Why not just time? 1 day, 2 days, 3 days have passed. Don't understand. Very odd. But eventually, excitement might happen because a battle will break out and it'll say your troops are running to the so-and-so some orcs or whatever. Okay. And then it will switch to the third screen the game have, which is the battle screen. And what we have here is a brown isometric display of the battle filled with both yours and the enemy troops. So the enemy will come at you. They're usually at the bottom. You can scroll the screen around. There's usually more troops than there are, and they don't all fit on screen. And they're all standing there. The enemy will come at you, and it's your job, and get this, it is your job to instruct every single one of your troops on the battlefield individually where to go and who to attack. So you select one, you move your cursor over their feet, you press the button. If you press it twice, you can actually control them, so you can move them where you want. As soon as they come up against an enemy, they'll start fighting. So you click on one of yours, you move to an enemy, you click on their feet, and that troop will then walk to that, try and make their way to that enemy and have a fight. Once they kill that enemy, they'll stop. Won't carry on. The enemy will be wandering around attacking your troops, but all your troops are just stood there chatting away, chewing the cud, blah, blah. What's going on? Don't know. I think there's a fight going on. Should we join in? Well, I haven't been selected, so probably not. I don't know. It's just stupid. Should you win the battle, then well done. And if not, then that unit is lost and it's back to the overview screen. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to get the ring bearer safely to Mount Doom. If you can stomach the pace of this, because it's slow and not much to do and not much goes on. There are different units that can attack. Indeed, I got attacked by what I think was a Nazgul or an evil wizard, and you can't quit out of a battle once it starts. There's no quitting out of a battle, and none of my troops, I didn't have anyone strong enough. This Nazgul was just killing them one by one. So I just sat there for ages, just watching this Nazgul go from person to person. I tried telling my troops to go at him, but they were just dead within about 2 strikes. I was like, oh, what the hell is this? He had to wait until he killed every single person in the battalion. There was loads of them. It took forever. It was very slow and very dull to watch. Oh, I guess it is hard. I mean, it's a strategy game, and there's a reason we don't normally cover these, and I'm not even sure if this is a good one. It didn't feel like a very good strategy game because there didn't feel like much strategy to be had. The pace of the map screen is too slow. You spend a lot of time waiting for something to happen. When the battle breaks out, the fact you have to individually tell each troop what to do seems a really silly idea. Why is there no group command? Why is there no simple option to attack the nearest enemy? The enemy does that. Why can't my troops? Surely when a battle breaks out, it should be like, right, everyone fights. This was done so much better in Defender of the Crown.
Yep.
Which you could argue has some elements of this, but Defender of the Crown, when it had its sort of battle screen, just had like, these are fighting and told you how many troops were, and it was just like, yeah, off you go. Done within seconds. Really a lot faster. Go play Defender of the Crown. It's a way better version of this. And it's, if you want some kind of medieval fighting strategy type thing, it's way, way, way better. So there may be some great depth to this that I wasn't privy to, but I couldn't see it. It's got glacial pace. The frankly idiotic battle controls turned me away from the sharpish. I love me some Lord of the Rings, but not like this. This was, what was it? War in Middle-earth? Bore in Middle-earth, more like.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. What about you?
No. Middle-earth games need to be way more than a badly drawn map and some text for me. I'm not 100% sure what I was meant to be doing. I mean, and obviously there's a lot of instructions and stuff like that. But that isn't, it sounds exciting, but that isn't what you actually end up doing.
There's a lot of instructions. Really. There's a lot of words that say very little.
Yeah, exactly. You just hop it from me. It was hopping from place to place with a magnifying glass to then see some kind of battle stat type stuff, which looked like a really weird sort of Middle-earth dating profile. Not very energetic, somewhat determined, steadfast, not very strong, not virtuous. It was like some kind of crap Middle-earth Tinder game. Just didn't draw me in at all. Because there is no in. It's exactly the kind of thing I hate about games and things that are set in Middle-earth in general. If you take all the visually rich and iconic landscapes and ideas and thrills and scenery and reduce all that down to a badly drawn map and then some kind of battle Tinder system, no. Right, in Lord of the Rings, it's a rich world out there, and there's amazing stuff that goes on in Middle-earth. There's so much stuff and characters and stuff like that to try and narrow that down to this kind of what is really a board game made into a sort of a C64 game, and not even a very good one at that. It's missing all the things that make Middle-earth interesting.
Yes.
And because it's missing all that, and there's nothing interesting happening at any point, and nor is it made interesting. There's no wordy descriptions, there's no engagements with characters, there's no discussions, and it's a boring battle simulation, and it's the most boring way of doing that. It's the kind of thing, but it belongs in the depths of Mordor, and even Gollum would throw up if he found it. So it's not for me, this. I thought it was really dreary, and it's not the kind of thing I would recommend anyone. If you like Middle-earth, stay away from it, because it's boring. Middle-earth is exactly correct. Well said.
Yeah.
Oh, it got 69%. whatever.
I think it's because they didn't really know what to make of it. It's that 2/3. We'll just give it 2/3.
Yeah, you can't be too critical of Middle Earthy stuff, can you? Because you'd have the wrath of all the orcs and angry villagers and that.
Exactly. And also as well, just want to say that if there's some kind of weird Tinder thing, it gives the term ring bearer a very different, connotation.
But, yes.
There we go. Borer in Middle Earth. Really is dull. Stupid battle system. If the battle system was faster, I'd have been like, okay. If it was just like loads of things just going at it.
Yeah, but it isn't.
It's boring.
No.
So let's have no more of that. Let's move on to our last game of the week and hope that things pick up. Do they pick up, Graham, as we go around the International Speedway?
Well, no. The International Speedway, wow, sounds exciting. $199, all right, okay, it's budget. At least they've got that bit. Yeah. 49% though, oh dear. It isn't the middle of the road, the worst place to drive your speed bike or whatever they call them. Publisher is Silverbird, so it's budget Silverbird. Developer was Probe Software, although I think that somebody was being probed while they were making this. It's coded by Kevin T. Green. That's the guy that made Flash Gordon and Night Racer, so it's got a good Cody coder behind it. Graphics, Stephen Murray. The musician was David Dunn. Dun. The game then. Okay, Super Speedway Rider, you've been racing your bike on the streets for ages and you reckon you're good enough to take on the rest of the world? That's a question, but they put an exclamation mark, just saying. Start off in the local league, then if you're a winner, the National League. It's getting tougher, but you might make it through to the Continental League. Then your big chance, the World Championship. The very best riders from around the globe have been waiting for a chance like this too, so they're going to fight just as hard as you to be number one. Okay, set your stall out nice and simply there. I quite like that. So it's finally a budget game, isn't it, that fits its budget price?
Yes.
I'll give it that. A pretty straightforward speedway racer game where the goal is to work your way up to the World Championships by doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. Don't ever hope to turn right. That's all I'm saying, because there ain't no right turns in this game.
It's like NASCAR.
You start the game with a decent title screen and a few options. F1 will start things. F3 to F5 are your novice, intermediate, and professional levels. F7 is practice. The music is passable enough and very jolly. It's a very jolly piece of music. It's all very jolly. Not 100% what I would have put with a Speedway game, but hey ho, it's jolly enough. Keeps things happy. Click F1 and you'll need to enter your name, your nationality, then your continent, which is a very strange thing to have to put in.
And you can type anything.
You can, yeah, it doesn't make a difference. It's just there for shits and giggles. It suggests in the instructions that you type in, if you put in Britain and British, that'll work. It's like, you can put anything. I put egg and it worked just fine.
Yeah, I put Calabos.
Exactly. You'll see the details for the next qualifying round will appear. Then you'll be the league positions of your opponents. So it's getting you ready for the way the race is going to happen. Then you'll see the lineup for the race that's about to happen. Then the ice scrambling screen full of raster cycles will begin, which will warp your eyes for seconds just before, just to make sure you're not prepared for anything. It's just like, okay, you ready? Why have you done that? So it's just to make sure that, so for anyone that's particularly scotopically sensitive or has a sensitivity to anything like that, this game will just try and mess with your mind before each level.
Yeah,
it will a mind masher.
It will Pokemon cartoon you.
It does. It's like, I don't know what that's downloaded or message they've been printing there, but
I really wanted a Yorkie afterwards.
I must kill their queen. Anyway, so you start the game and your window is split into a few sections, actually. One of them is a big wasted section, though, I felt. So the top left-hand section is where you control your Speedway racer on the track. Okay. Below that is the top-down view of the Speedway itself, always in the standard oval shape, of course. Adjacent to that is your lap number, speed and throttle, and the image of your racing helmet. Hee. To the top right are some indications of the lights and controls. That's the waste of space. It's just lights, just 3 lights up there.
Yeah.
Whole side of the screen just given over to just 3 tiny little lights, no more, no less. Just seems like they could have put something in there. I don't know. The race starts, you press the fire button to speed up and control the bike with the joystick. As you race round, your rider will experience inertia from the corners, which will mean you will overcompensate for it every single time. This will cause you issues, many issues, the same issue over and over again. Also, you have a speed burst. Did you know you had a speed burst, Adrian? Well, you do. But you only get 1 per race, but you get that by pressing up. Not that you'd know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll use that without realising. And you only get 1 per race. So you'll have used it within the first second of starting off the game without even realising you've used it. Then before you know it, the race is over because these are very short. Speedway races are actually very short, in all fairness to the game. So it's not like they're Because it's sort of you're like, hey, I'm getting into it. Oh, end. Oh, okay. Just getting into it, end. Okay, it does give you a warning because the border changes colour just before the last lap.
Yeah.
But even then, they are very, very short races, but they actually are in reality.
Yeah.
And then you're back to the jaunty music, some race results, which position you came, and then it's off again with more racing. Exactly the same thing again and 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 again. That's it. It's just that. Whether you work up the leagues or not. The races do get more difficult because they just get in the way. You'll have used your boost every single time. If it's weird that you have a boost because none of the others do, why would you have that? Why would you be allowed that in a race? You just shouldn't have had that, really. And you don't really have any control around going around the bend. So as soon as you hit the bend, your motorcyclist is going to fling off to the left-hand corner, no matter what speed you do, unless you're going really slow, which means you won't win. And then you're stuck to the corner. Then when you try and come out of that, you'll try and push to the right on the joystick, but it won't work. And you'll be stuck in that corner, and then you'll eventually come out, and then it'll sweep way across to the right, and you'll hit something. And just, it's not, the controls are a bit naff for the game. You don't have the finesse of control, but it's £2, isn't it? So you're getting £2 worth of control. So, and that's it. That's all there is to the game. The idea is that you work your way up that league by winning races, and you do that by continuously winning the race, or coming whatever position you come in. It's just that over and over and over again. They don't vary at all, like I said. And I suppose that the only thing you can say really is this: for a couple of quid, all right, it's passable. It's passable in the sense that it's because it's dead easy to pick up. There's no real skill involved. And if you had a rainy afternoon and you just wanted to race a motorbike endlessly around the track and see how far you could get, well, this is the perfect game for that. There's no two-player option. It's one player, which is a bit of a... I think had a two-player, that would have really lifted it. I think that would have just made it better. And you've got enough screen space for that as well. So they could have done that. But, they didn't. So it's one player. It would give you a couple of hours of entertainment on a rainy afternoon. They're short races, so you're not likely going to pick up any skills. Very quick learning curve. I could see it being something you got and you play for a little bit, but then it's going to go back on the shelf and you're never going to pick it up again. And maybe you think, what was that like a year later? One of those kind of games. Not inspiring, but there is very simple logic here for a couple of quid. And the graphics, while they're not amazing, are adequate to convey the race. They convey a race. You've got a racer. It's on a track. It moves fast enough. There's an overhead view so you can see where you're at. There's no real challenge, but then again, it's not particularly meant to be. It's £2 worth of Speedway game. You get exactly what you pay for. I didn't hate it because of that. I thought, at least it's embracing it. But it is bang in the middle at 50%. They got it exactly right. There's nothing exciting about it. It is just the same thing over and over again. But it's £2 worth of that. At least the price is right. But it ain't a jaw-dropping thing. But so I didn't hate it, but I didn't. What can you say? It's £2. What did you think?
Exactly the same. I mean, my first sentence is, at least this has the good Grace-Speed budget.
Yeah.
And the animation on the riders is not that bad.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah.
It took a little while to realise that I was actually playing it like a normal race game where you steer and then you steer out, but you don't actually do that. And he'll naturally sort of lean out of the corner and you don't go flinging around the place. Once I got that, I was actually quite enjoying the race and I got better at it. Once I figured that, I found this, I don't know, this is damn with fake praise, far less offensive than the other racing games we've had to endure recently.
Yeah, it's because it's doing it simply.
Yeah, it's a weird layout though. I'd have liked some more screen to play in.
Yeah,
I think. It reminded me, because the layout is similar to the velodrome racing in the game's summer edition.
Same sort of idea, yeah.
So you got that top down and the 3D view.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but once I got going though, I found this okay. Kind of like his last one, that Night Driver, £2 racing. That's perfectly acceptable for £2 if it's fine. And maybe it was because I think just before this, I'd just played Supertrux, so that had annoyed me. And this one didn't annoy me. I was like, once I got into it, I was like, this is all right. It's weird as well. I don't know if this is how it happens in the International Speedway world. There are 5 people in a group, so you everyone races 4 times, and one person always drops out of a race, so there's one person missing. It's kind of the weird layout of the way that, because when it first started, it was like, here's the results from the first race, and I was like, I didn't race. That's like, I get it now. I understand. But like you said, £2 knows its place. Knows it's a £2 budgeter. Yeah, okay. I can't get too angry about this one. 50%. Yeah, probably. I'd have maybe put it a bit higher. I think is a bit harsh. If Supertrux gets 57, then this at 50. But then again, maybe that Supertrux should have been down in the teens or 20s.
It should have been a lot lower than it was. That Supertrux was crap.
It was crap. So I don't know. But yeah, this was probably the second best game of the week. I think.
Yeah.
Obviously behind Incredible Shrinking Sphere, which was okay. It's hard to get enthused about International Speedway. It just is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. And there we go. That's it. That's our 6 games this week. It's not
exciting.
April's not started off with a bumper crop.
No, it hasn't, has it really? I mean, Shrinking Sphere was pretty enough, but...
I was expecting good things from War of Middle-earth. I thought we might have got like another like Times of Law or Neuromancer.
No, I knew it'd be crap.
Instead, it wasn't great. Which is a shame.
And the thing is, just if they'd just made it a little bit more like Defender of the Crown, even, it would have been better. Could have been Defender of the Middle-earth, couldn't it? It would have been quite good like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with doing it like that.
No, nothing wrong at all. You could have taken over the Brown Lands, the Iron Hills, everyone's favourite Lord of the Rings locations, which they don't go through.
Yeah, they won't go through there.
That's it for this week. We've still got 2 weeks to get through. I think we've 7 games in the next couple of weeks each. So what's coming next week, Graham? Shall I tell you what's coming next week?
Yes, please.
Well, next week we have we've got Catechus, R-Type. No, it's Daenerys.
Yeah, is this is Catechus minus some of the kisses, I guess.
Yeah, this is Catechus without the type. This is just type, not R-Type. This is a type of R.
Okay.
Then we've got something called Dynamic Duo.
Okay, right.
Yeah, which...
I like the sound of that.
Then we've got Eliminator, which I think is...
That's quite good, that.
Yeah, it's the 3D sort of shootery, Cosmic Causeway sort of type.
Cosmic Causeway, yeah, that sort of 3D zoomer highway, but it's got good music in Eliminated by Maniacs of Noise. Very good.
Butcher Hill.
Okay, I don't know much about that.
I don't know. No idea. Motor Massacre.
That doesn't sound good.
It doesn't sound good, does it? We just know what's going to be. No. Something called Tomcat.
Good music in Tomcat again.
Yeah, that's a budget vertical scroller. And finally, DNA Warrior.
Okay, let's see what that's like.
It's a salamandery type shooter, I think.
Yeah, no DNA in that, maybe.
No DNA in Salamander's cadaver. So that's next week. I think my question at the beginning is April awesome or amazing? Awful?
Well, it ain't started out so good, has it?
It's not started out so awesomely, no. No, it has not.
No, they've got to stop doing these crappy racing games, these Supertrux and these derivatives of that. I'm so sick of them now. I'm like, if you can't beat Pit Stop 2, don't bother. And
I'm sorry, but you seem to be eliding 4 soccer simulators as the worst thing.
I don't even think about that.
that game.
I've erased it.
Anyway, there you go. We got anything more to add? Yeah, if you want to support the podcast as we play through all these, and please, we could generally use it. You can do that financially by heading over to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/Zapped to the Past. You could, there's 2 tiers there. Throw us £1 or throw us £4.50 to come to get on our Discord and all the things that entails with that and get the episodes early and stuff like that. You could buy us a Ko-fi at kofi.com/Zapped to the Past, or you could even buy some merch if you want. Walk around with a bottle of brown sauce on your front. Why would you not want to? Why would you not want to do that? And you can do that. I think it's just zappedtothepast.shop. Is that right?
Correct. That is correct.
There you go. It's easy enough. It's so easy to remember. It's almost like we did it with that in mind. So you could do all that. Alternatively, rate reviewers, chuck stuff up on Twitter and stuff like that. Come engage when we sort of post each week on Twitter. Come have a chat. It's always good to hear from people when we sort of speak about a game each week. And if there's anything else that we've covered in the week that I don't mention when we do the Twitter stuff, feel free to sort of shout it out at us. It's always pleasant to hear. Don't think we've got anything more to say. Have you, Graham?
No. I'm done. I'm done and dusted for this week.
I think we are. So on that note, I have been Adrian Mills.
And I have been Graham Raddings.
And we have been made very angry by 4 soccer games. God damn, yes. Angry. And we will hopefully have calmed down, and we will see you again next week. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Zapped to the Past podcast. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of Commodore 64 games, as well as the music, films and TV from around the 1980s, driven, of course, by the issue of Zap 64 magazine published at that time. We will return with a whole new batch of games and stuff to talk about next week. Until then, if you want to listen to or download previous episodes of Zapped to the Past, and why wouldn't you, they can all be found on our website at zappedtothepast.com, as well as being available on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, Audible, Player FM, and, well, pretty much anywhere where we can upload them. By the way, we do always love to hear from our amazing listeners, so if you'd like to contact us about anything in the podcast or beyond, you can do so by emailing us at zappedtothepast@gmail.com. We're also active on Twitter under @ZapTother, as well as Facebook, Instagram, and most social media platforms. Just search for Zapped to the Past and you'll find us. Oh, and if you like the podcast and what we're doing, please do like, share, review, rate us. It really helps. Something, apparently. The Zapped to the Past podcast is written and produced by Adrian Mills and Graham Raddings, and recorded at Flaky Bits 2.0 Studio. All opinions expressed are those of the writers, and while we indeed love Zap 64 magazine, the Zapped to the Past podcast is not affiliated with it in any way. Stay safe, see you next time, and remember, we play these games so you don't have to.